right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the LiUNA at Las Vegas Motor Speedway for today's O'Reilly Auto Parts Series race, the fifth race already of the 2026 NASCAR O'Reilly Series season. And in the first four races, we have actually had four different winners, some of which Cup regulars like a Shane Van Gisbergen at Circuit of the Americas, and of course the O'Reilly Series regulars in the other three races. Last week, Justin Allgaier getting a dominating race win at Phoenix Raceway, followed by the first two races on the drafting ovals won by series regulars Austin Hill at Daytona, and the first career win to that of Sheldon Creed at Atlanta. Cars are doubled up and they are on the racetrack, and we are just minutes away from the drop of the green flag for today's fifth round in Las Vegas. We've got a mix of Cup regulars and, of course, the full-time O'Reilly Series regulars in the field today. We'll go through that starting lineup as we begin things off with pole sitter Sam Mayer. Haas Automation has dominated this race in the years past, particularly in the fall race. We'll see how the spring race will go with Mayer starting on point. Kyle Larson, one of the Cup regulars in the field today, will be outside of row number one. He is driving the 88 for Junior Motorsports. In row number two will be Sheldon Creed and Sammy Smith, another one of the Haas Chevrolets for Sheldon Creed, and Smith, another JRM Chevy. In row number three will be Brandon Jones and Taylor Gray for Joe Gibbs Racing in row three. Jesse Love with Roger Carruth in the 32 for Jordan Anderson Racing make up row four. And rounding out the top 10, Justin Allgaier and Jeremy Clements, who came away with the top 10 a week ago. Corey Day on the inside of row number 11 should be fun to watch here today, and Parker Retzlaff to the outside of him in row 6. Row 7 will be Austin Hill, a former winner here multiple times in the spring race at Las Vegas, and William Sawalich, second year for him in the O'Reilly Series, off to a slow start again in 2026. Jeb Burton and Cole Custer will make up row number 13. Custer, another Cup regular, and another one even behind him. In row number 9 will be Connor Zilisch in the one car for Junior Motorsports, his second series start of the year, and Carson Kvapil will be driving the 9. Austin Green and Ryan Sieg will make up the top half of the field in row 10, and then row number 11 for Nick Sanchez and rookie Patrick Staropoli. Chase Briscoe in the 19 for Joe Gibbs Racing, and Harrison Burton will be in row 12. Row 13 for Dean Thompson and Brennan Poole. Daniel Dye with Chandler Smith in row 14. Row 15, Kyle Sieg and LeVar Scott. Row 16 will be Anthony Alfredo and Josh Williams. Blaine Perkins alongside Nathan Bird in row 17. Row 18, Ryan Ellis, Joey Gase, and then Mason Maggio, Josh Balicki will round out the field in row 19. 38 cars on the entry list for today's race. 200 laps, 300 miles, 45 laps in stages 1 and 2, and in the final stage, 110 laps. Fuel window going to be right around 60 to 65 laps. Pit road speed 45 miles per hour around this 1.5 mile oval. Lights are out on the pace car. They will be going green this time by, and as the field circuits their way off of turn 4, our pole sitter Sam Mayer has elected the inside lane for row number 1 to take us to the green. Thanks to everybody tuning in here for today's race. Let's get this party started. Green flag is in the air. Sam Mayer will lead us, and Kyle Larson kind of dragging back on this initial start. Not sure what happened there, but he is 3 to 4 cars back of the leader entering turn 1. Larson on the outside of road number 1 just did not get going. He's already battling side by side for 5th through the first 2 corners. We'll see how quickly he can try to make that up. A couple rows of 3 wide further back in the pack, and mostly double wide now into 3 and 4 on the other end of the speedway. Sam Mayer looking to easily lead this opening lap of the race. Larson quickly to that middle upper groove to try to make spots up. Got one back, and now he's right behind Jesse Love for 4th. Opening lap of the race is complete as they now circuit lap 2 through turns 1 and 2. Very tightly is Sheldon Creed right behind his teammate up at the front of the field of Sam Mayer. And we've got trouble already. Jeremy Clements is sideways, and Connor Zilisch trying to miss him down to the inside. Might have gotten a piece of that sliding 51 cars. Mostly a save, a very quick caution. But we are under yellow for the first time already. Lap 2. Clements was sliding sideways. He's got a little bit of left front fender damage. I think he caught the one of Zilisch. Not sure exactly where on Zilich's car. Looks like maybe caught him in the right front just a bit. And they're going to have to bring that number 1 car down to pit road because there's definitely a tire rub. And that is very unfortunate for Connor Zilisch because remember in his only other O'Reilly Series start earlier this season at COTA, he had a couple of on-track incidents, one of which took him out of the race after contact with Corey Day through the S's. Back at Coda 2 weeks ago, and already early troubles here, but that's the product of qualifying mid-pack. Looked like there was a bit of contact that got Clements sideways in the left rear corner panel, and it was actually the one of Zilich who looked to have gotten into him that initially started everything. Oh yeah, Zilich washed way up the racetrack on the bottom. It looked like he just got super tight through 1 and 2, plowed into Clements, and then Clements came back down the track and caught him in the right front again. No major damage on either of these two cars. They will be able to continue, but aerodynamically, there's quite a bit of damage to that right front of the one, and that's not something you want on an intermediate track. Tough break for Clements early on. Hopefully he doesn't have as much damage. I do think that Zilich is going to actually have the worst of the damage between these two. Very underdog-esque performance last week for that small team, family owned, for Jeremy and his unit. Able to walk away with a top 10 at Phoenix, but was actually in the top 5 in the closing laps before a couple of late race cautions and restarts set him back in the late going. Shout out to those of you watching the stream already. We got Terry Lewis, Connor Burke, Bam Hall, Bond1771, Billy Kramer. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. So early caution on lap 2 of this race. Sam Mayer leading the first few laps. First one under green. Laps 2 and 3 under yellow. So top 5 in the running order after that initial start scores Sam Mayer in the lead, Sheldon Creed second, Brandon Jones third, Jesse Love fourth, and Kyle Larson in fifth. Not a good start for Larson. I'm surprised we didn't have a caution coming to the green with how terribly Kyle Larson got out of that restart zone. That would have been a terrible situation if that would have happened. That causes a stack up, takes Larson out of it. And that could have taken out several others, because we've seen accidents like that in the past where one car fails to get going on the start or a restart and others pile in behind. It's kind of a follow the leader situation into the wreck. Not really much anybody else can do. Remote location this weekend, if anybody is wondering why the usual setup isn't in the back. Unfortunately, there's no diecast showing this weekend at the end of stage 2 in both of these races for the O'Reilly and Cup Series races. Truck Series off this weekend for the second consecutive week. They'll be back at Darlington next Friday night. That fast, tight, intermediate oval. And back on the East Coast in South Carolina, we get rid of the West Coast swing. NASCAR out west for a few consecutive weeks. If you count Texas, that's the Wild West, I guess. But started working the way out there in Austin a couple weeks ago. Obviously, last week in Phoenix, Vegas, and we'll be back on the East Coast at Darlington, followed by a couple of those short tracks, Martinsville and Bristol, to come. Steve J, welcome to the stream. See what happens. High limit sprint car race starts at 8:30. I know Kyle Larson's going to be running in that, which is going to be crazy because he's going to jump from one car to the next. He's doing a double of his own here today. No weather in the forecast for today's O'Reilly race, so that's good. I remember last year he tried to do that. It was either him or Christopher Bell, or both, were trying to run this race and the sprint car race, and then they ended up postponing the sprint car race because of rain, with this race going long. And obviously whatever track conditions that the dirt track was in that day as well. But weather cooperating much better this year. They're back from commercial on the CW. Again, local CW affiliate is where you can watch today's race visually. Jamie McMurray, Parker Kligerman, and Adam Alexander on the call. So caution on lap 2 after contact between Connor Zilich and Jeremy Clements.
Connor Zilich, let's get a report from Kim.
Yeah, early incident involving Connor and Jeremy Clements. Let's get some Starkey in-car communication to hear what Connor had to say. So you heard that? You guys, your assessment was correct. They talked about that damage in front of that right front tire. They did check the tire for any cuts. Tire looked okay. And the good news is the damage was not big enough to bring out the bare bond. So tough start to the day, but it'll be fun to see what he can do from the back of the field.
Yeah, it's always so interesting when you get damage to these cars because sometimes you see what looks like a lot of damage and it doesn't seem to affect it too much. And then that little bit of damage there. We'll just get the read on what they have here and hopefully he's going to be okay. As you see, Jeremy Clements stopped on the track. I believe started pit road, yeah. He owes NASCAR a lap, so they're going to hold him here. And then he'll rejoin the field. Up for the restart, Mayer and Creed, teammates of the Haas Factory team. HFT leading laps at Vegas for the first time. Mayer once again goes inside lane as the field makes its way to the Echo Park restart zone. Echo Park Automotive, where car buying is easier, better, and happier.
All right, green flag back in the air. Much better restart for Larson inside of row 3 this time, keeping up with the cars in front of him. Sam Mayer on the inside of row 1. Again, his teammate Creed to the outside as it barrel through turns 1 and 2. It'll be Mayer getting the bumper out in front, and he should be clear to the high side off turn 2. Slides up in front of his teammate. They'll draft down the back straight away, and right now the next battle for position is Jesse Love closing the door on Brandon Jones with a block to the inside. Multiple grooves at Las Vegas, but the older this surface gets, it seems like the more and more the bottom lane is actually the more preferred line of the racetrack. And we're going to see quite a bit of tire fall off between both today and tomorrow's races. More so than what we would have at Phoenix per se last week, which we actually had a decent amount across both series, which we don't usually see at Phoenix, but even more this week on a faster track in Las Vegas. Older surface as well, last repaved in 2007 with the reconfiguration that year on this current surface. So Sam Mayer's led every lap of this race, whether it be under caution or under green so far. He also just set the fastest lap of the race that last time by also. Bonus point will be awarded to the Xfinity fastest lap. That lap time was a 30.549 at the end of lap 8 for Mayer. Clean air advantage to try to help with that. And we'll be approaching lap 10 this time by. Kyle Larson dropping back in the running order just a little bit more. Another kind of poor restart to kick things off, and he is in 8th place. As Taylor Gray, Justin Allgaier, and Brandon Jones all got by him on the restart. So Larson's struggling early. He would have been my pick before the start of the race. I didn't mention that already, but he is my pick for the race win today. I haven't had a race win pick in the O'Reilly series since the opener at Daytona, so we'll see. Back-to-back in Cup entering this weekend, though, so not to toot my own horn, but we'll be going for a three-peat tomorrow, trying to pull our inner Tyler Reddick out. Chase Briscoe trying to battle after qualifying middle of the pack. We haven't seen him in many O'Reilly Series races in recent years. He's in the 19 for Joe Gibbs Racing, and he's already up to 11th despite starting 23rd in just these opening 11 laps or so. A great run going for Briscoe. 6 positions gained since the restart alone, which is only over the course of about 3 laps. Corey Day up inside the top 10. And Parker Retzlaff holding on right now in 9th for Viking Motorsports. Had a top 10 a week ago at Phoenix and is also sitting top 10 in points in the early season standings. See how long he can hang on to that for. Showing the replay of Briscoe on the restart. He was a part of a couple of those groups that were going 3 wide initially. On the outside lane, actually took to 4 wide. Passed the 3 cars at once on that opening lap from the restart. A brunt of those 6 positions were gained in that first lap or so. He was zooming up near the wall, where we haven't seen many drivers try to venture in the early laps today. So quite a few drivers trying the outside and qualifying in the Cup Series a little over an hour ago. It's kind of cool to see multiple lanes being used and not everybody in the same lane the entire way around this racetrack. Different tactics, different strategies. You're going to see that on race day as well. Showing the back of Larson's car on the onboard with the driver sitting in line behind him, and he is just struggling. That car is yawed out a ton and way too loose. Caution flag is now out for the second time today. It looks like we got a two-car incident off turn 2 down the back straightaway involving both Chandler Smith and Austin Green. So 2 yellows in the first 15 laps of today's race. Bit of a slow pacing start, as both Chandler Smith and, actually it's Cole Custer in the 0. I thought it was the 5 of Smith. It was 0 of Cole Custer. So one of the 4 Cup regulars in the field today involved in the incident. So 2 incidents and a Cup regular involved in each. Zilich in the first and Custer in the second. Have to wait to see a replay how this one might have started.
That organization are going to run that car 5 times in 2026. He's usually really good when he comes to the O'Reilly Series. Let's take a look here. Going through 1 and 2, the top right of your screen. Oh, he just got loose underneath. Who is that? Is that Raja in the 32? Yes, that was Raja. He was underneath. You can see the donut on the right side. It looks like Austin Green may have just got helped around trying to slow up for this. But very similar to kind of what we saw from Connor Zilich. These Cup drivers still have to deal with side force in the Cup car. Second caution of the day. 14 laps in Las Vegas.
Yeah, Custer almost got into the side of Raja Caruth in the middle of trying to make that save when the back of the car was coming out from underneath him. But just loose, spun on his own. Austin Green spinning, trying to miss the incident. Didn't look like either car made contact with one another, but it was recorded as a 2-car incident because of which. Nobody's been able to tackle Sam Mayer or Sheldon Creed. 1-2 Haas Automation up at the front of the field in these early laps. Third place is Jesse Love with Justin Allgaier in 4th. Sammy Smith rounding out the top 5 in 5th. Then you got Taylor Gray 6th, Brandon Jones 7th, Kyle Larson in 8th, Parker Retzlaff 9th, and Corey Day rounding out the top 10. Chase Briscoe 11th, Austin Hill 12th under the caution. So 2 yellows in the first 15 laps. Tim Fowler, thanks for tuning in. Greetings. IndyCar race going to start early tomorrow because of threat of high winds. IndyCar in Arlington, Texas this weekend. A street course race around Jerry's World. I watched the IndyCar race at Phoenix last weekend on Saturday afternoon. I had no idea that they ended up moving the race for the high winds. So early start tomorrow, it sounds. Probably a doubleheader on Fox with the Cup Series. Although the Fox Cup race will be on FS1. And that local Fox affiliate like every IndyCar race is. I believe every IndyCar race is still on Big Fox. It's part of their deal from a couple of years ago. Last year, I think, was their first year on Fox. And you could correct me if I'm wrong in the chat because I don't watch IndyCar every week, but I believe all the races are on big local Fox. IndyCar race will be wild. Expect a lot of carnage. Oh boy. It is a new street course layout. I remember watching the when they ran the Nashville street race for the first time and how chaotic that was. I think that's just like a street race in general. Drivers trying to learn a new track for the first time. Expect nothing of normality when you have races like that. So it's scoring 2 lead changes, but that was on the restart, I believe, getting back to the green flag because Sam Mayer has led every lap. Sheldon Creed, I guess, beat him back to the line out of the restart zone. Well, it didn't actually clear him, and then Mayer got it back, so that's why there's 1 lead change despite the fact that Mayer's led every green flag lap so far. By the time we get to this restart, we're going to be almost halfway through stage 1. Nobody's wanting to pit with these early cautions despite tires mattering because these O'Reilly Series races are limited to a certain amount of tires, so you don't want to blow through them in the early laps. You want to have them for when stage 3 comes around. It's a much longer stage. You already have to pit at least once there. I mean, you can take the risk, go for the stage points, but then if we get a lot of cautions in stage 3, you're going to be SOL.
I think it's fair to say this track is tough because of the speed it has, the amount of grip it has. It has grip until it doesn't. And what I mean by that is you get in there and your car feels good. It's not like it's hard to catch it when it gets out from underneath you. And we've seen big display of that so far today. Well, look at the consistent theme of both of these incidents that we've seen. The bumps into one, get the car unsettled. You think about Connor and Cole coming out of the Cup car, which has more grip than these. It's a slick day, as Jamie's mentioning. Those bumps combined with the aero effects you have at such a high-speed racetrack like this. You're entering at 190 miles an hour into turn one, mid-speed of around 170. You're never going slow around here, so there's a lot of aero effects combined with the bumps that some think maybe have gotten worse over the last couple of months.
Sure it has.
It's a very treacherous place. Yeah, the bumps are interesting here because they're really only into turn one, and if you could get a little bit above those, it's a faster line, then cut back down. But man, when you hit those wrong, and we show video of that qualifying and practice, you see the car move. It doesn't look like much from the outside, but it's the car. It is a handful. The one thing I see in this shot right here, though, you see the shadows from those billboards. If the track gets hot today, that will be grip up there, being able to run in that. So turns 1 and 2, it's tricky right here. You see a highlight of where the bumps are, right? So that's where they are. You either go above that or below it. If you're all the way down, you're basically going to have your right sides in it. If you're on the white line, you just touch the bumps. If you go up the groove, you've got to go high enough that just your left sides touch them. But there's almost like a no man's land that when you're in there, and especially if you've committed a ton of speed like we saw from Cole Custer, once the car starts hopping and getting all that movement, you're along for the ride. Hey, Jeremy Clements gets the free pass here, so he's back on the lead lap. Of course, he was a part of that first caution of the day. And also on a payoff, you see Chandler Smith leaving pit road here. He and LeVar Scott also got together, and we didn't see that in our initial replays.
Oh, wow.
You see him high side into turn one. It's back behind the 51 and the one that they were getting into. Yeah, that happens a lot. You see a wreck in front. Chandler probably sees that. LeVar does not, or the spotter, one says it quicker than the other. And Parker, I think you'd agree with me. When a caution comes out and you see something, the first reaction is look in the rearview mirror and see like how quick are they closing in on me, because look, sometimes that's what happens here. It just happens in racing in general. You slow down, the guy beside or behind you doesn't. I even tell people on the road, if you have someone checking up in front of you on a highway, look in your mirror as you're doing it. Oh yeah, let's get a little Kyle Larson radio 8th right now as we get ready for the restart. He feels like he might be on the splitters, what he's talking about there. They've complained about that all day long with this car, that when it gets loaded up in the corner, the front doesn't want to turn. Typically, the splitter hitting is what causes that, but I feel like they've worked on that car and just have not got it to Kyle's liking yet.
Yeah, and no pit stops have been recorded yet in this race either, so obviously when Larson's able to make that first pit stop, I'm sure major changes will be made, because that 88 car does not look like usual when you see Larson running these O'Reilly Series races, especially in recent years where he's dominated and went 3 for 3, or would have went 3 for 3 in the races he ran last year. He was 3 for 4, taken out in a late race restart at Homestead. Green flag back in the air. He did not run at Las Vegas last season, though, but this year he is in one of his select O'Reilly Series starts. Probably the best restart Sam Mayer has had so far today. He's got the biggest lead on anybody through 3 and 4 in the opening lap as they get up to speed off the exit of turn 4. He'll hold on. Chase Briscoe rocketing his way through the field might be the guy who we're going to have to watch for speed that could have the best opportunity to win today's race, because he has passed more cars than any. Again, started in 23rd. He's already up to 6th. This last restart, he was in 11th place, and he's already gained 5 positions. He is just jumping these restarts in a good way, not in a way in which you would get a penalty or anything like that, but he is just taking care of business, and it's all happening up in that outside lane. We have not seen anybody venture up near the wall. Briscoe's doing that. He's riding the wall again through 3 and 4 as he pulls away from the cars he's already passed in his rear view and continues to chase down the top 5. He's got a massive run after Taylor Gray, his teammate, down into turns 1 and 2. Now keeping the car pinned down to the bottom of the racetrack. Side by side in front of Briscoe between Gray and Jesse Love. They're going to hold each other up with that side draft. Briscoe right back to the outside because nobody's running up there. He's going to have a ton of clean air. Jesse Love in the 2 car. Gets blocked by Taylor Gray. Briscoe gets by the 2 on the apron through the tri-oval. And still trying to get after the 54. So that was the pass to get to 5th. And now he's looking for 4th. Of the Cup regulars in the field today, I think a lot of people would have taken Kyle Larson. If we look at our chat poll and to see what you guys at home think, Kyle Larson, 36% of our 25 early votes in this stream for who is going to win the race today. Justin Allgaier, 28%. Connor Zilic at 20%. Somebody other than those three at 16%, which obviously Chase Briscoe would fall under the other. You do have until the end of stage 2 to vote there, so you can change that. If you think a guy like Chase Briscoe is going to pull off the race win today. Lap time, that last lap was only a couple thousandths of a second faster than our leader, Sam Mayer, but I would imagine Briscoe's had to use a lot more of his tires in passing as many cars as he has, considering he's gone from 23rd to 4th in a matter of the first 25 laps of the race. The bunching up of the restarts has made this process a lot quicker getting through the front of the field, especially with how good his restarts have been. Joe Gibbs Racing, obviously a pretty strong team all around when it comes to these O'Reilly Series races. Briscoe basically keeping the seat warm for Brent Cruz, who will be running full-time in this series as soon as he turns of the age of 18. He's only able to run the short tracks and road courses right now. That's why he ran at Phoenix and Coda the last couple of weeks. Pretty solid effort by Brent Cruz in both races, but he's too young to race these 1.5-mile tracks and bigger, so they got the veteran Chase Briscoe in the car this week, kind of help him in the owner's standings, and we'll see if Briscoe could go out and get a win. Joe Gibbs Racing has not been able to win yet in the O'Reilly Series this year. And in Cup for that matter as well, although they locked out the front row earlier today with Christopher Bell and Denny Hamlin starting on the front row for tomorrow's race. Justin Allgaier putting pressure on Sheldon Creed in a battle for second. Looked to the inside through 3 and 4. Couldn't quite get there. Cole Custer running that wider groove. Not just in 3 and 4, but also in 1 and 2. Cole Custer kind of running the middle of the racetrack. Not going all the way up near the wall like Chase Briscoe was moments ago, but well off of the bottom. A lot closer to the wall through 3 and 4. Justin Allgaier down around the white line. Briscoe up near the wall. And you can see Briscoe running that outside line near the wall. He's much closer to it than Creed, even though Creed probably thinks he's in the outside. Briscoe's just that much higher. Not even half a car higher, but it makes a difference. Creates more side force on the race car. There's a lot of shade up there in the outside as well, especially in turns 1 and 2. The billboards covering turns 1 and 2 has shaded most of that area of the racetrack at this time of the day. Justin Allgaier battling and wheeling his race car right now. Trying to stay glued to the white line all the way around the racetrack, and that thing was sliding sideways through 3 and 4. Looking like he was on a dirt track there for a second. Allgaier does have a little bit of a dirt background. Maybe helps for a driver of his caliber to be able to run a car this loose and still be as quick as he is in third, but we'll see if those tires are going to fade by the end of the run. Good news is with the 2 cautions, you kind of go a little harder on this set of tires because you're expected to have a couple of heat cycles, a couple of restarts where you're not running as many green flag laps. Where if this first stage went caution-free of 45 laps, might have had to manage a little bit better. And obviously not going to have to pit for fuel purposes in either of these first 2 stages. They'll pit at the stage end, and then you probably won't see them pit until the end of stage 2, unless we get a very late caution in the stages. Then there could be some flipping, but unless we get a restart in the final couple laps, I don't think anybody would do that. At least not anybody of note that would be running up at the front of the field otherwise. So top 10 in the running order right now has Sam Mayer in the lead. Justin Allgaier just completed the pass for second off turn 4 on Sheldon Creed. Creed now sits in third. Then 4th is Chase Briscoe. 5th is Taylor Gray. Jesse Love is in 6th place. 7th is Corey Day. Kyle Larson still in 8th. Brandon Jones 9th. And Austin Hill rounds out the top 10. 13 laps to go in stage 1. We'll take our first break in the stream. You're listening live on KRC to our full flag-to-flag coverage. 40-mile-an-hour winds and snow tomorrow. Oh, boy. Yeah, here it was very, very windy yesterday. I didn't look at the weather at all to know exactly how windy it was, but it was very windy. Power was going out. A lot of area towns around us. Driving downtown last night, there was stoplights that were out in select areas of the city. So the lead is about a half a second for Sam Mayer over Justin Allgaier. That last lap, Allgaier was quicker than Mayer, and same for Chase Briscoe back and forth. The lap time to that of Allgaier and Briscoe very similar. They were within 1,000th of a second of each other that last time. So Allgaier Briscoe look to be the class of the field as of right now in this first stage, based off how these cars kind of unloaded to start the race. Again, we haven't really seen any pit stops yet because we had 2 early cautions, and obviously we're still in this first stage. Corey Day and Kyle Larson battling for 7th on track, both the HendrickCars.com Chevrolet. 88-17. Corey Day, of course, the predecessor to that of Kyle Larson. Larson scouting him from the dirt racing world and telling Rick Hendrick, hey, give this kid a shot. He's got a lot of talent, and we'll see what Corey Day is going to be able to do. Stayed out of trouble last week at Phoenix, had a pretty solid run. He's been fast. I mean, that's not the issue here, just trying to run some clean races. And last week he was able to do so. We'll see if he can do it again this week. Got a pass for the lead through the tri-oval. Justin Allgaier out in front for the first time today. Went down to the apron through the front stretch. Tri-oval to make that pass on Mayer after having a big run on him off of turn 4. Didn't want to waste any time. Allgaier, after getting his first win of the season last week, we'll see what he is going to be able to do. Maybe trying to stretch a points lead out as we get out of race number 5. And we'll actually take a look at that point standings for the first time in today's stream for the O'Reilly Auto Parts series. So 12 drivers make the chase in this series. After Allgaier got his first win, he takes the points lead for the first time, jumps from 3rd to 1st in the standings in one race. Of course, all those points you get for winning a race, very crucial there. 184 points. He has a 3-point lead over Jesse Love and just a 5-point lead over Austin Hill entering today. So very tight amongst the top of the leaderboard. Carson Quapple, who has been running part-time at JRM but full-time in this series, is sitting 4th. Sheldon Creed rounds out the top 5 and 5th. Again, Creed had a win at Atlanta. Sammy Smith is in 6th. Raja Karuth is running part-time at Junior Motorsports as well. If he's not in the 88, he's in the 32. Like today, he's in the 32 for Jordan Anderson Racing, but still holding on strong to 7th in points. And you got Corey Day in 8th, Sam Mayer 9th, who led this race at the start, started on the pole. He's now in 2nd. Parker Retzlaff, who started in the top 10, has faded just a bit. He's top 10 in points entering today. And you got Brandon Jones in 11th. Last spot in Jeb Burton. So Jeb Burton and Taylor Gray actually tied for the final chase spot exiting Phoenix last week. And Jeb Burton was up 6 positions in points based off his performance a week ago, so pretty solid one at that. Stayed out of trouble as he's done for most of the season to get him that spot in points. So that's the standings as we look at it right now. Justin Allgaier's lead has grown out to about 0.6 of a second. Coming up on 7 laps to go this time by in stage number 1.
Yeah, and Adam, I talked to Adam Wall down there earlier today, and I'm like, listen, decent run at Phoenix. And to me, the most important part of that race is that there was no controversy around what Corey Day was doing on the racetrack. Just had a normal day, not perfect, but kept his car clean. And I think, after hearing the meeting they had with Rick Hendrick on what he expected of Corey, I thought he did a great job last week.
Well, this is not the first time these two have battled here in Las Vegas this weekend. Thursday night, high-limit sprint car. They're going at it for the win here.
Bit of a theme. You got Larson there in the white car, Corey Day in the black car, racing each other here in sprint cars. Look how they just bounce those things on the right rear, going all over the racetrack. Similar to what we were seeing there. And it's that close for the win. Goes to Larson, but wait, what's that sweatshirt?
Owen is wearing a Corey Day sweatshirt in victory lane. I mean, is that allowed?
Kyle said he hoped he gave it to him for free.
That's right, yeah.
He said he better have got it for free.
It was great when Kim talked to him earlier today during practice, and Larson got a little bit of a dig in there at his young driver.
Corey had some massive slide right there off of turn 2, which I saw him into the sprint car.
hanging on to it. And, his whole team went over and watched him run the sprint car the other night. And Adam was telling me, he's like, listen, he knows those cars. Like, he's like, he could crew chief that car. And he's like, ultimately, I think that's his goal to get over here is to learn these. It's all so foreign to him. And he's drinking from a fire hose, right? Trying to learn. Kim?
Yeah, Adam told me the same thing, and he was really excited to have the opportunity to go to the dirt track, see Corey in action, and that is what Corey has told him he wants on this side, to have the same understanding of these full-body stock cars as he does on the sprint car side. And then a two-part to this is that Kyle Larson in the field is a huge advantage for Corey, and Adam was also really excited about that because he said it's going to be really beneficial with Larson running this race. It means Corey's going to have somebody to really lean on and learn from, something he's kind of been lacking in this series. Yes, he does talk to some of the JRM guys, but really he's kind of out on an island at this point and doesn't have really good mentorship in the series yet.
We have a battle going on between these two. Briscoe did a little bit of a slider on Sheldon Creed. Sheldon crossing back over. Now Taylor Gray's going to come in and get a little piece of it. I think Sheldon's bleeding right now, just wanting to get to the end of this. Balance of that car has went away.
Well, this is huge for Taylor Gray, who's had his fair share of issues this year. He wants those stage points. I mean, you can't rely on the win and you're in. You have to get it done in the stages, finish strong in the races, and he'll take all he can get here with 3 to go stage 1, and he picks up a spot. 54 is fourth right now.
But I think
All right, so coming to 2 laps to go on the stage this time by. Justin Allgaier does lead in stage number 1 right now, and he's got a little over a second and a half advantage. Briscoe got by Taylor Gray for third. Of course, Briscoe not running for points in this series, so just basically stealing points away from Taylor Gray in the late going. Closest battle inside the top 10 right now looks to be between Sheldon Creed and Jesse Love for about 5th place. And then obviously the battle they were showing on screen a bit ago between Larson and Day, but Larson's pulled away from Day. Cole Custer, after an early spin, is already up to 9th, so great recovery there. But I do believe he took fresh tires because of that spin, so that is why he's gained 24 positions since the restart. So I wouldn't take that too far into a big notice there for Custer having that much speed. Again, fresher tires. If anything, it's probably a disadvantage because he has burned a set this early in the race. So stage 1 is going to be in the books as Justin Allgaier exits turn 4, trying to go back-to-back to start this week. We saw a lot of races last season, though, where he would win stages, lead a lot of laps, and only had a few wins to show for it throughout the year. He has one already this season, but we'll see if he can go 2 wins in the first 5 races. And trying to become the first repeat winner in this series this year. Again, 4 for 4 in the O'Reilly Series with different race winners. 3 regulars of the O'Reilly Series of Allgaier, Austin Hill, and Sheldon Creed with wins. And then SVG from the Cup Series got a win as well. With Cup regulars in the field and looking quick like Chase Briscoe and Kyle Larson going to look to make some adjustments. We'll see if they can fight it out with Allgaier for the race win. But right now, Justin Allgaier, again, your stage 1 winner. Sam Mayer in second, Chase Briscoe third, Taylor Gray fourth, and then rounding out the top 5 in the first stage was Sheldon Creed in 5th. And Jesse Love in 6th, Kyle Larson 7th, Corey Day 8th, Cole Custer 9th, Brandon Jones rounds out the top 10. 1 point per position, 10 points for first, all the way down to 1 point for 10. So end of the stage, our first stage end of the day. Michael Turner, thanks for tuning in as well. Yep, background's different. Remote location this weekend. I'm not at home for this weekend's stream. Had some power outages back at home, so had to stay in a different location for this weekend's live commentary stream. High winds. Turn the feed audio up a few clicks. Okay, will do. Thanks for that. Federico Sanchez, thanks for tuning in. Got just over 50 people in the chat. We did have internet disconnection earlier in the stream. We missed about 10 to 15 minutes. I did not get the like goal up there, let alone I don't know what we ended up finishing out at. Our like goal for today's stream is going to be 50 likes, so we'll see if we can run that up on remote location this week. We'll see if we can get the 50 likes. So be sure to hit the like button if you haven't done so yet. Subscribe for more NASCAR content like this every NASCAR race weekend. We are live for O'Reilly Cup and Truck Series races. Again, Truck's off for the second consecutive week. So one less stream this weekend at Las Vegas. All three series will be in action next week at Darlington. And we'll be streaming Friday through Sunday. It'll be a Friday night. And then we got early and mid Saturday afternoon, and of course Sunday afternoon with the Cup race next week. Start time for tomorrow's Cup race on the channel here will be at 3:30 p.m. Eastern, beginning with our pre-race show. We'll do some NASCAR trivia. We'll go over who I think will run well, not run well. We'll highlight the Fantasy League and then get into the race itself. We'll be seeing our first pit stops of the race shortly as well. Allgaier will lead them all in. As soon as they come back from commercial. And visually, the CW is where you can watch all the O'Reilly Series races all season long. For Gene Huddleston, thanks for tuning in. How many cautions? 3 of them already. We had 2 in the first 15 laps for incident, and now the stage yellow at lap 45 is the 3rd caution. This one, of course, not for incident, though. And stage 2 will end at lap 90.
Stage 1 complete in Las Vegas. This stage rigged on CW to you by Arby's. And look at this. For the 40th
Wow.
is second in the opening stage and led 32 laps from the pole. How about a power issue? You're careful, but no, not bad.
So what it's referencing right there is on the there's a kill switch on the steering wheel, but it sounds to me like maybe it's electrical. I mean, it's hard when they say power issues. I'm just assuming that.
Yeah, well, there's a couple things
no fire,
and there's a couple things you could do, right? You could cycle the power in there with the actual master switch, which can hopefully sort of recycle everything. That sometimes can work, but obviously Sam came on the radio and said that's not the case. There's a bigger issue here, so they'll have to investigate. You put the net down so they could get in there and start fooling around on the dash and see if they can find something.
Maybe try to replace that switch. Sometimes that's something that's just going to go to a different steering wheel, maybe possibly. But you know, built in.
This team, James, had a clean race this year. When you think about, he starts on the pole in Atlanta, has the tire problem, came from 3 laps down to finish in the top 10, had the Gremlins last week, had to come from behind, finish top 5, and it felt like maybe today they were going to put it all together. Qualifies on the pole, leading all those laps early, and now this.
Definitely, but it's got power on it. Where you're not going to be able to crank the motor, it just won't fire.
Progressive pit road is open. Allgaier leading them down. Let's go to Kim.
Yeah, and his crew chief, Andrew Overstreet, reminding him to be a little bit conservative because we see speeding penalties often here. He's going to land in the box. He said the ride quality is great. Just need a little entry security, but he doesn't want to tighten it up too much in the center. He just needs it to turn. So they'll just make an air pressure adjustment on those 4 fresh Goodyear tires. Snowco fuel filling.
23rd to 3rd for Chase Briscoe. Said he was free into turn 1 and felt like he was over-rotating the right rear. So once some more front grip, they might make a wedge adjustment here to help that. Taylor Gray, bottom of the screen, said he felt like the grip doesn't come in until well past the midway point of the run for them. 4 tires and fuel for the 54.
Pit road execution is big. You want that track position. You want to be in control. Jesse Love wins the race off pit road +4. Nice work by the 2 team. Taylor Gray won the pole last week. Gets the #1 pit stall. He gets a spot. Allgaier wins the stage, but falls to 3rd. Briscoe and Larson complete the top 5 coming off the pit lane. Stage 2 in Las Vegas coming up. We're glad you're with us live on the CW.
All right, so first pit stop's just wrapped up. We'll get to the restart to begin stage 2 shortly. Jesse Love wins the race out of the pits. He is now the leader. Taylor Gray second. Justin Allgaier, who won stage 1, drops 2 spots in the pits to 3rd. And then Chase Briscoe was 4th out of the pit lane. Kyle Larson 5th, Brandon Jones 6th. Our leaderboard not completely accurate at the moment. It's got Balicki, Joey Gase on there, but that is because they came to pit road a lap after the leaders. Nobody fell a lap down with only going the last half of the stage under green. Only car off the lead lap, technically, I guess, is Sam Mayer. Mayer was running in second place. Finished second at the end of stage 1. Led a bunch of laps most of the race so far after qualifying on the pole. But again, power issues. It sounds like some sort of an electrical component issue. And team is going to work to make the fixes they need to try to keep this 41 car in the race, and they're going to have to try to come from behind to get another solid finish. They've been able to do that a couple of weeks already this year, as they mentioned on the broadcast, came back from a couple laps down on a flat tire in a top 10 at Atlanta, and then last week a top 5 at Phoenix after falling a lap down because of an issue as well. Oddly enough, even though Justin Allgaier had a win last week at Phoenix, only 13 laps led in the first 4 races of the season. He's already led more laps today than he did in the first 4 races combined this year, despite having that win. 15 laps led in stage 1 for Allgaier to get that 10 points. And of course, no playoff points with the way the chase format is this year, and rewarding on consistency, but getting those 10 points towards the season standings obviously big. Quarter of the way home, about 44 minutes into the race, 5 lead changes, 14 laps spent under yellow. This is our 3rd caution of the day. Not for incident this time with the stage end. And so 40 laps remain yet in stage 2. For those of you watching live, appreciate everybody tuning in. Middle Saturday afternoon. Endangered Sense, thanks for tuning in. I think 45 seconds is like the perfect amount of time for a fight, maybe 30 seconds. Just when somebody goes to the ground, don't break it up like in hockey. I don't know where this came from, but hey, I mean, if it has anything to do with like fights on the racetrack, I agree, you know? I don't like when these, you have like all the team members like basically fighting each other at once. I'm like, it didn't really have anything to do with the situation. Like, it was what happened on track which led to the anger. So let the two drivers, battle it out. And I agree, let them fight. One person hits the ground, fight's over. Get an official in there.
Cycle RV and boat insurance. Visit progressive.com. And by your fictional parts people. Getting ready for stage 2 in Las Vegas. The wheel and caution lights are on. What you are seeing right now is the same wheel and emergency warning technology used by police, fire, and EMS vehicles across America, trusted every day to protect those who protect us. And as you can see, Sam Mayer, second in stage 1, having issues. They pushed his car behind the wall. Let's go downstairs, Dylan, with a special guest.
Yeah, with the Grand Marshal today, Jacob Laughlin, who gave the command. So if you've watched Landman, you certainly know who this guy is. He's a real race fan, though, too. We see him at the Chili Bowl. He's a real hardcore race fan. So what's been the coolest part of the experience for you today? Obviously got to give the command, like we said, and get to see this from kind of the down low perspective.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is my first time to a NASCAR event, and it's absolutely insane. I have to thank the guys from Wild Protein Snacks for bringing me out. Also, they have a great product on the way. No, this is absolutely incredible. It's an honor to be Grand Marshal and be able to do this. I'm just happy to be here, man.
I'm glad to have you here. He's a racer, too. Used to race micros when he was younger, so knows what it takes to go fast here, guys.
Really, really cool. Love the show. Love that he's here representing.
Very cool.
Racers everywhere you look.
Car. Didn't get any stage points in stage 1, driving the 9th of Junior Motorsports this week, but 11th prior to the choose as we get ready for our second stage restart. And getting on board with Austin Hill. 1-800-PACK-RAT, giving us a bird's eye view of what he's thinking as we begin this second stage.
This will be the first start or restart without Sam Mayer really leading the charge there at the front. Obviously, his issues, unfortunate for him, but now we'll see what Jesse Love has starting on the front row on the bottom.
Allgaier, who won the stage.
All right, Jesse Love going to be the leader on this restart after winning the race off pit road. He elects the inside lane. Green flag is going to be back in the air. Taylor Gray outside of row 1. We'll see how long he can hang on for in the 54. Half a car lane clear out on the bottom lane of the racetrack, and now fully clear through the middle of turns 1 and 2 for Love. 3 wide middles where Kyle Larson finds himself in a battle for 4th after failing to pick up spots on the prior couple of restarts. We'll see if this is going to be better for him, and we'll also see if the adjustments made to that race car are any better to try to help him and go out here and take the lead potentially for the first time at stage 2. Breaks out of the 3 wide battle to get to the inside of Chase Briscoe, fellow Cup Series regular for position. They'll battle for 4th into turns 1 and 2. Larson on the bottom, Briscoe up near the outside. Briscoe trying to get out of the dirty air from behind Taylor Gray in the 54, who's running the wider line, trying to get by Justin Allgaier for 2nd, and he did so. And now blocks Allgaier to the inside. And Chase Briscoe going to take to the top to try to make his way by the 7. But in going up there, that route did not work out well for Briscoe. Maybe got a little bit too far wide. Maybe had the lift potentially of getting too tight. Either way, Larson and Creed going to get underneath the 19. Creed is all sorts of loose through the middle groove of the racetrack as he works his way out of the bumps with the left side tires. Larson clear on both cars, and Kyle Larson now up to 4th. Briscoe trails behind and will go back to the high side while it'll be Larson down to the bottom. And now Briscoe actually dives in line with a wider entry to get to the white line on the inside of the racetrack as well. Single file and tightly at that are the top 3 positions, pulling away for Briscoe and Larson. Jesse Love continues to lead these first few green flag laps following the restart. Taylor Gray to the middle to upper line. Jesse Love pushing tight, middle off, almost gets up into the wall off the exit of turn 2, and Gray's all over his back bumper. Love going down to block on the back straightaway, and into turns 3 and 4. Taylor Gray trying to get all up to the inside of Love. A little bit of air on the rear spoiler. Gray to the inside. He's going to lead his first lap at the line. Love trying to go down and side draft him on the apron. Justin Allgaier tailing behind the 2 on the outer lane as they enter turns 1 and 2. Nowhere for Allgaier to go. He's kind of boxed in with these 2 cars side by side in front of him. And caution is going to be out for the 4th time today. And for the 2nd time, it is Jeremy Clements in the 51 as he went sliding off of turn 4. First time he went for a spin after contact with Zilich in turns 1 and 2. This time it looks like he had a self-spin off turn 4. It was down in the grass. Already 4 cautions in the first 58 laps of today's race. Clements onto pit road. They're going to change tires again. He's got to be running out of sets unless they're putting a set of scuffs on right now because 2 spins already. That's not good for Clements. Great week last week at Phoenix. Not so great this week. And this was a self-spin at the back of the pack. There's nobody around him. Slid through the grass. Didn't really tear the car up at all. And ended up in the pit lane. And took on new tires. So Taylor Gray was in the lead at the time of caution. He scored as a leader on our leaderboard on NASCAR.com here. So Jesse Love is in 2nd. They were side by side when the caution came out. They go to the last scoring loop at the time of the incident, or at least when the yellow flag is displayed. And Taylor Gray would have been just ahead of the 2. So despite the fact that he hasn't led a green flag lap yet today, he is out in front for the first time. Early in stage 2, we got a long ways to go. Austin Sullivan, thanks for tuning in. Yes, Sam Mayer's car got pushed to the garage during the caution. That's a tough break for him. JoJo, welcome into the stream. Better late than never. Appreciate you tuning in. Got 37 likes on the stream. Our goal to get to 50 for today's race. Be sure to hit that like button. Subscribe for more NASCAR content, live streams like this every NASCAR race weekend across the Truck, O'Reilly, and Cup Series. Select other motorsport events as well. We'll be doing commentary for the Indy 500 on Memorial Day weekend. Plan on doing the ARCA race at Talladega again as well. And the Rolex 24 back in January. Hard to believe that was almost 2 months ago already. Crazy how quickly time flies. Justin Allgaier, if you're just tuning in, won stage 1, but Jesse Love won the race out of the pits. And on our leaderboard, it was showing Taylor Gray in the lead. But maybe upon further review, it looks like Jesse Love's going to be out in front now. So he did hold on after all. But he did not look to be as quick as both the 54 and the 7. He was holding them up on that short run. Now Larson and Briscoe are a little bit closer to the front of the field in 4th and 5th. They're back caught up with the top 3 after this early caution in stage 2. It's going to be about how stage 1 worked out as far as how many laps we went green to the end of it. If we don't get another caution, we're going to restart with just over 20-25 laps left in the stage. Field's still single file, so they have yet to get to the choose rule. Going to be under caution for a little bit longer. So we'll take a quick break here. You're listening live, KRC, our full flag-to-flag coverage of today's race. A little bit like too off center, so I had to adjust my camera there. That should be a little bit better. Chase Briscoe been the man on the restart so far. Now that he's up with the faster cars at the front of the field, he couldn't quite take to the advantage on that last restart as he did on the few that we had back in stage 1. He tried to go to that outside lane again, actually cost him a couple spots and had to play catch up, and then the caution came out when he got back up to 5th. 60 laps complete out of 200. Again, a lot of racing yet to go here today. Live commentary coverage continues right here on KRC. Field doubled up now, and we're going to get to the next restart shortly. And it will be Jesse Love and Taylor Gray on the front row. Love on the inside of row number 1. Gray to the outside. Lights are back on the pace car, so it looks like we're going to add an extra lap of caution. Still got to work on getting some safety equipment off the racetrack. So with the extra lap of caution added, we're going to restart at lap 19 of 45 in stage 2. That is going to leave us with about 26 laps to go. 27 laps to go in stage 2 on the next restart. I can't wait for the Cup race tomorrow. The 1.5 mile tracks of the next-gen car have proven to be the best racing that we've seen out of this next-gen car. over the first 4 years that we've seen this car in on-track activity, and I can't wait for more of it again tomorrow. Our first one of 2026. Going to get to the restart this time by. Not going to add another lap of caution. It does look like there's a little bit of damage potentially on the nose of the two of Jesse Love. Definitely could be hindering some of that speed in the race car. Doesn't look like much, but on a 1.5-mile racetrack especially, it's going to make for something of an aerodynamic deficiency. He took care of business on the last restart. He held on long enough to get to the next yellow, bailed out maybe with a caution because Gray got to the inside of him off turn 2 down the backstretch when the yellow flag came out for the leaders. And into the restart zone, here we go again. Green flag back in the air. Love and Gray on the front row just as they were before. Great restart by Jesse Love, and he's getting an awesome push from behind, and now moved to the outside by Justin Allgaier into the first turn as he tries to side draft that right rear corner panel of Love's race car. Exit of turn 2 and a huge battle and a swarm of cars in the back half of the top 10 running 3 by 3 by 3. Cole Custer all the way up near the wall on the outside. Another one of those Cup regulars who battled to get up inside the top 10 before the end of stage 1. Buried back in a little bit of traffic now this time. Taylor Gray losing a couple of positions on that restart, falling from 2nd to 4th. Chase Briscoe now up to 3rd, and Kyle Larson loses another couple of spots on another restart today. He was in row number 3, and now he's battling side by side for about 7th. Allgaier going for the lead to the outside of Jesse Love off turn 4. Taking the side draft back to the start-finish line. It'll be Allgaier leading that lap by inches. Jesse Love trying to side draft him back. They'll battle a little bit longer into turns 1 and 2, but I don't think that 2 car is going to be strong enough to hold on. And Allgaier's clear out of turn 2. Now it is Chase Briscoe's turn to try to make the pass for 2nd. And Briscoe will go to the clean air in that middle to upper groove of the racetrack. Jesse Love continues to struggle down around the bottom. Briscoe side drafts the right rear corner panel of Love all the way down to the apron as Jesse couldn't pull away from the 19. And Briscoe trying to clear in the same exact spot Allgaier did for the lead, but now for 2nd. And he'll do so. Drafting in line behind him, also on the outside, is going to be the 54 of Taylor Gray, getting back by Love, and Jesse Love is losing positions and at a rapid pace. So 4 early cautions. Justin Allgaier is the leader. He's got about half a second advantage over Chase Briscoe in 2nd. 7/10 of a second advantage over Taylor Gray now. 8/10 over Jesse Love in 4th, and Sheldon Creed has just lost 5th place to Corey Day. Corey Day 1.2 seconds out of the lead in 5th. That is the top 5 in the restart here. Middle of stage 2. We're exactly halfway through the 2nd stage. Lots and lots of racing to go. They made the pass in turns 3 and 4 down to the bottom on Corey Day. On Sheldon Creed, sorry. And Kyle Larson trailing just behind it, watched everything that just happened. Jesse Love overdriving the race car, trying to stay in front of Taylor Gray. Sailed it off to the bottom of the racetrack and overstepping his boundaries. Gray was able to make the pass on the crossover for 3rd. I'm surprised Love didn't lose too much momentum that he potentially lost another spot. He's still in 4th for now, but Corey Day's got a lot of pressure on him. And not far behind is still Creed and Larson as well, so Jesse Love's in trouble of falling out of the top 5 in a hurry after restarting as the leader. Most spots gained from the start of the race, I do believe, is Briscoe, who started 23rd, is up to 2nd. He has not led a lap yet today. Ryan Sieg started 20th. He is up to 9th place. Connor Zilic, after having that early damage on lap 2, after contact with Jeremy Clements in his first spin. Zilic is up to 8th place. Can't count him out of it yet. He started 17th and obviously went to the very back, having to replace that right front fender damage that he had earlier. So although he has somewhat of an aerodynamic deficiency, you can't count Zilic out, especially in this O'Reilly Series where he won double-digit races with Junior Motorsports last season and obviously running with JRM again here today. Our chat poll is still open. That will stay open until the end of Stage 2, so if you haven't voted yet, be sure to do so. 41 votes have been casted. 34% of you say Kyle Larson will still win this race today. 27% of Allgaier, who won Stage 1. 17% took Connor Zilic. Again, he's back up to 8th. Larson is in 7th currently. 22% taking somebody other than those three, and other to fall under the category highest of which would be Briscoe in 2nd place. Briscoe looked like he was faster than Allgaier just by a bit back in Stage 1 towards the end of that run. So now that he is up to 2nd, we're going to monitor the lap times between the 19 and the 7. The clean air advantage right now seems to be working for Allgaier. They're running very similar lap times, but Allgaier about 0.02 of a second quicker that last lap over Briscoe. And the closer Briscoe gets and runs that same line as a 7, the tighter and harder to turn his car is going to be through the center of the corners. Corey Day trying to block the bottom of the racetrack after getting passed by Sheldon Creed up around the outside. Jesse Love is pulled away from this battle after it looked like he was going to fall out of the top 5. He was slow to fire off. He rolls in 4th and is getting away from the 00, 88, and 17. Day after losing a spot to Sheldon Creed, the following lap now loses a spot to Larson, and Larson's back into 6th. So Kyle Larson, not the Kyle Larson we usually see when he comes to the O'Reilly Series. He hasn't won a Cup race since mid-May of last year at Kansas Speedway. It'll be 29 Cup starts since the last win for Larson when the green flag drops tomorrow at Vegas. Just over an hour into the race, 8 lead changes, 4 cautions, and we have 15 laps to go this time by in Stage 2. 21 laps have been spent so far under yellow of the 76 completed. Two quickest cars on the racetrack that last time were both of the top 2, Allgaier and Briscoe. You know, even though Larson just made a pass for 6, he's still a couple tenths of a second a lap off of the top 2. Still an opportunity to make more adjustment changes, though, so I'm not going to count him out of it by any means. Trying to get by Sheldon Creed for 5th. Tight battle there. Maybe he makes this pass and can pick up a little bit lap time-wise, not having a car directly in front of him anymore. He's got over a second to catch Jesse Love in the 4th spot after he gets by Creed. Larson to the inside through turns 1 and 2. Larson, we've seen him down around the bottom a lot more than other drivers, and we usually see him obviously in that upper lane of the racetrack, or middle to upper groove, as wide as he can go and as the car will let him, but he's got to be struggling mightily with that race car to not be able to run that middle to upper line. Felt like he was dragging the splitter across the racetrack earlier when we listened in at the end of Stage 1, and he was diagnosing how he felt the race car was handling through that first stage. But we're guaranteed at least 2 more pit stops, maybe even more than that. They have an extra set of tires beyond the 2 pit stops that we know that are guaranteed left the rest of the race. We're going to be having our stops at the end of Stage 2, and then obviously they'll have to pit for fuel and tire purposes at some point in Stage 3. If we get any extra cautions, you'll see them pit more than once. This team still had 3 sets of Goodyears, minus a couple of drivers who were in early spins in this race who might have used an extra set of tires like Cole Custer and Jeremy Clements. I don't know if Connor Zilic burned through an extra set of tires or not. So the minute we find that out, that'll be crucial information to gather. I mean, it has been almost identical lap times by the 19 and the 7 in recent laps. Had that 7/10 of a second split for a little while now. Really, ever since Briscoe got to 2nd place. Getting by Jesse Love, and that was about a dozen laps ago, if not more. 11 laps left this time buying the stage for Allgaier. Clean and green down around the bottom, trying to sweep the first 2 stages of the race today. He had more first and second stage sweeps last season than he had race wins in the O'Reilly Series. Took until the fourth race of the year to get his first stage win of the season. This week, in Vegas. So might be able to get the first two in the same race. $120 laps left overall in the race today. Again, 110 in the final stage of the race. Stage splits are all the same usually for the Cup Series races in Las Vegas. The O'Reilly races in Las Vegas. Mile and a half tracks in general that are 300-mile races in this series. It's always 45, 45, and 110. That's pretty much been the case since we had the stage racing implemented back in 2017. Briscoe closing in just a bit. He was only half a second back, scored that last time at the line. That's as close as he's been to the lead since getting to second place. As Allgaier's tires may be starting to burn out from underneath him. Loose as fast if he can hold on to it, and Allgaier's been very loose down around the bottom of the track all day. Not too loose to where it's disturbing the race car from a speed performance. But you got to be careful. We get into longer runs. If he's going to potentially burn those tires out a little bit more, the Cup Series veteran Chase Briscoe might have a chance to get him down. Could serve those tires a bit better than the 7. Longest green flag run we're going to see today is going to be to the end of this stage of 27 laps. So if we get anything longer than that, or no cautions, for instance, in the final stage, tire management is going to be so crucial. Thought we'd see a little bit more fall off today. Well, it's a little less than 2 seconds. And I guess we've only ran 20 laps to this point in the run. So every 10 laps seems to be about a second of fall off. Briscoe up around the top through turns 1 and 2. Continues to try to eat into that lead on Allgaier to the end of the stage. Up near the wall through 3 and 4 as well. Nobody has ran the outside not only as much but as effectively as Chase Briscoe's been able to do today. Lead kind of fluctuating back and forth. That time Allgaier was quicker that last lap with a 32.574 to Briscoe's 32.714. Jesse Love actually ran a lap time that matched Allgaier that last lap, so although he fired off slow in the run, he's getting a bit better. Problem is he's 3.7 seconds out of the lead, but he is kind of cutting back into third place Taylor Gray. So I wouldn't necessarily be shocked if Love can get a spot back before the end of the stage. Jesse Love has scored more stage points than any other driver in the O'Reilly Series through the first 4 races of the season, and already a good stage day so far today as well. And if he can get another point here, that would add on to it. Trying to keep Allgaier within range as much as he can. The top 3 in points between Allgaier, Love, and Hill entering the day were within 5 points of one another, with Allgaier in the lead, Love second, and Hill third. 4 laps to go, stage 2. Wonder if Sam Mayer still got the fastest lap of the race. I think he does. Yeah, he does. I was just wondering that because he was off the track for a bit. Sam Mayer is back on the racetrack, by the way, but he is 5 laps down after having some sort of an electrical issue earlier on. And that bonus point for the fastest lap, again, was on lap 8, where he put down a 30.549 while in the lead. Going to be tough to come from 5 laps down. The good news is we don't have any more cars that are off the lead lap minus Jeremy Clements, but because Clements is still ahead of him, Jeremy Clements will get the free pass at the end of the stage and not Mayer. I don't think Mayer's going to come back to get a good finish this week, unfortunately. I think 5 laps is just too many. At least 4 too many. Gonna be kind of lucky to get one back the rest of the way, honestly. Kyle Larson making a pass finally for 5th on Sheldon Creed. He was behind him for quite some time, but took until the second to last lap of the stage to actually make the pass. Justin Allgaier catching the back of lap traffic right now, so Clements might not get the free pass after all. 1 lap to go in the stage. Allgaier's opened the lead up to about 9/10 of a second or so over Briscoe. Even if he's stuck behind the lap traffic for just a short pit, he should be able to hold on. And it looks like he's going to try to spare Leland Honeyman in front of him to the end of the stage. Briscoe up near the wall, but he's going to be too far back. It was a kind of a risky game. Justin Allgaier was being patient, not trying to pass these lap cars. One more lap, Briscoe would have had him, but I think Allgaier would have understood that and tried to make the pass if he felt he needed, but he didn't need to. So Allgaier taking care of his equipment and will win stage 2. So sweeping the stages today, Justin Allgaier at Las Vegas, Chase Briscoe second in this second stage, Taylor Gray third, Jesse Love fourth, Kyle Larson up to 5th, 6th for Sheldon Creed, Corey Day 7th, Connor Zilich 8th, Austin Hill in 9th, and Carson Kvapil inside the top 10 for the first time today. End of stage 2. Mike G, thanks for tuning in. Chris Davis, welcome to the stream. Hello, everybody. We're going to end our chat poll since we are at the end of stage number 2. Kyle Larson is still going to win our chat poll as the favorite to get the race win. 38% of your 50 votes are going to take him for the W. Justin Allgaier, who wins the first 2 stages today, got up to 24% of the votes. Also 24% for somebody other than Larson, Allgaier, Zilich. And Zilich nowhere to be found so far at the front of the field today. Had that damage after contact with Jeremy Clements on lap 2. Clements went for a spin, right front fender damage on the 1 of Zilich. He has 14% of our votes this afternoon. Yep, Jeremy Clements will get the free pass again. He fell lap down after the first incident. This incident, he went another lap down. So Clements will be back on the lead lap, which means 37 cars are going to be on the lead lap to begin the final stage, which is all but Sam Mayer, who started on the pole, then had electrical issues. Allgaier has passed him for the most laps led in the race now. Justin Allgaier has led for 43 laps. Sam Mayer from the pole was able to lead, I believe, just over 30. Going back to it. Yeah, 32 laps led for Mayer back in stage 1. 8 lead changes so far through the first 2 stages, and this is our 5th caution of the day, the lap 90 stage break. So slow-paced race so far. We had those 2 early cautions, and we had 1 more early yellow in the second stage, and the 2 stage breaks themselves making up our 5 cautions. Time for diecast. I do not have a diecast with me. It was unexpected that I was going to stream from the location I'm streaming from here today. Did not make it back at home after the work week this week because of power being out at my place, my parents' place. So because the power was out, stayed back behind for this weekend. I have my laptop and everything I need to stream, but I don't have the usual setup this weekend. So if you're wondering why it's different in the background, I'm not at home, obviously. So no diecast showing. Sorry, I don't have anything for this weekend. Maybe I'll make it up next week, and I'll do 2 for each stream next weekend. But yeah, power's just been out a lot of areas around me. Saw that last night too. It could be back on now. I know it wasn't when I went to bed last night, so I stayed back and wasn't going to risk anything by going back today and then having issues. Because apparently from what my mom was texting me yesterday, that the power was out, came back on for a little bit, and then it went out again. And I'm sure it's back on and running now, but I didn't want to risk anything. Ted Burleson, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for the dedication. Appreciate it. Appreciate you tuning in, Ted. Snow? No, it's just high winds. I think there's a chance of snow either tomorrow or later tonight. I got an alert on my phone. But as far as the reason for the power outage, no, it was just high winds yesterday. Semi-trucks, from what I heard, were overturned. And It's pretty wicked out there. I have the race feed on my phone playing, so if you see me bouncing back and forth between screens, it's so I can look at the chat. I don't usually do that. 3 high winds out in Las Vegas this weekend, too. Those flags are whipping in the infield. We've seen high winds, though, at this track in the past, so that's not abnormal. Going to have pit stops shortly for the second time today. Justin Allgaier wins his first 2 stages of the season. Just 13 laps led in the first 4 races combined despite having a victory. And he's already led for more than 40 laps today. Kind of looking back at the season statistics. Of the 4 races ran this year, Jesse Love's the only driver to finish in the top 10 in every race. Love has also led the most laps, 172 to start the season, 116 for his teammate Austin Hill as well. Love dominated in the laps led at Phoenix, and between the super speedways, the 2 and the 21 led a ton. Pit road is open.
Through stage 2. Yeah.
But that adjustment didn't really help on the tight condition. Still tight center, slight vibration on the left side. Needed more rear security. Crew Chief Andrew Overseek is going to make a small air pressure adjustment to get the front turning a little bit better for this next run. 4 tires fuel. Dylan.
Chase Briscoe said he was super loose into 1 and tight landing into 3, which they thought might be due to the wind. So Chase's only request was to not tighten him up. Just wanted to be a touch better if they can. They'll make a small adjustment there. The 54, Taylor Gray at the bottom said he started to build front grip too late, but can't be any more laterally free than he is right now. No big adjustments for them.
A repeat.
All right, so Jesse Love wins the race off of pit road as he gains 3 positions. Great job done for him. Same as that team was able to do back in stage 1 where they won the race off pit road. RCR's got their pit crews down in the O'Reilly Series. I remember Austin Hill had of the best, if not the best, pit crew last season, and Jesse Love this year right out of the gate. Looking strong here today, and obviously at Phoenix last week with a lot of pit road stops, winning races out of the pits. He's won the first 2 already today, and neither time he was in the lead leading into those stops. So Jesse Love is out in front. Then you got Justin Allgaier, who will be lined up second on the restart. Chase Briscoe third. Sheldon Creed fourth. Taylor Gray is going to be 5th. And then 6th is Connor Zilich. Couple of spots lost for Kyle Larson in the pit, so he falls from 5th to 7th now. Couple more lead changes in the midst of those pit stops happening under the caution with as many cars on the lead lap and where you're pitted, whether it be before or after the start-finish line. Obviously, Love winning the race off pit road as well. So 10 lead changes now today, and we're a couple laps shy of halfway. An hour and 20 minutes to get to where we're at in the race. 300 miles, our scheduled distance with 200 laps for today's race. Tomorrow, 400 miles, 267 laps around the mile-and-a-half racetrack in Las Vegas, Nevada. Same location for both the O'Reilly and Cup Series races this weekend. Arby's, 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 nothing stops Arby's. Yeah, even with all these abundance of Arby's ads during the course of the O'Reilly races this season, still have not had Arby's yet this year. I drove past an Arby's last night. Just enough to point it out, but not enough to actually hop in the drive-thru line and get some food. I had food of my own. All right. Start time for tomorrow's stream again, 3:30 p.m. Eastern. We'll be live for that. Can't wait to bring you the action. I mean, this season is flying by. The fact that it's already the 5th race of the year is pretty insane. Thought Chase Briscoe might have had something for Justin Allgaier the way he was ripping through the field back at stage 1, and he still could if he can get the track position and actually get ahead of Allgaier on a restart. Maybe it'll be tougher for the 7 to make the pass on the 19, but the 7 car is looking pretty strong. Got to stay ahead of the racetrack though. The good news is with being out on the West Coast, like it's going to be dark here on the East Coast by the end of the race, but out there, it's going to be full daylight, which is not something we always see at Las Vegas for the O'Reilly races. Sometimes they tend to kind of start in the daylight and finish in the night, but that's not going to be the case today with this kind of earlier start time rather than 7:30 or 7 o'clock. It's going to be a 5:30 Eastern start, so this race starting just before 2 p.m. or sorry, just before 3 p.m. local time. I don't think the track's going to change a whole lot. It'll cool off a bit, but not a lot. Lights are out on the pace car. They'll be going green this time by, again, Jesse Love and Justin Allgaier running first and second. Love will be the inside of row 1 for the restart. Briscoe's going to be on the outside of row 2 behind Allgaier. That's quite shocking. Sheldon Creed will actually be inside of row 2. Jesse Love's done a fantastic job on the restart so far. He'll hold on for a few laps and then be under duress immediately after. Green flag back in the air. Pretty solid restart on the outside of row 1 by Allgaier that time, though. He's not able to stay alongside of Jesse Love, who gets a great push by Sheldon Creed. Not as much of a push for the 7 car from Chase Briscoe. And so Love will slide up and clear off turn 2, and Creed's going for second place to the inside of the 7. Through turns 3 and 4, Allgaier trying to pinch the 0-0 off on corner entry. Slides up, exit of turn 4, they're still side by side. Briscoe went all the way to the outside. He let a couple of cars by on the bottom. And Briscoe going to lose several positions. Connor Zillage up inside the top 5 for the first time today. Taylor Gray just in front of him, and Austin Hilt for the first time today trying to battle for a top 5 running position. Briscoe behind all 3 of them, boxed in with them being 3 wide. Zillage losing ground on that outside through 3 and 4 now. Tight squeeze by Briscoe, trying to go to the bottom, but he hits split again. Corey Day's underneath of him. William Sawalich in the 18, haven't called his name today. He's up in the top 10 now. And Chase Briscoe going backwards, who was so masterful back at stage 1 in the restarts. The beginning of stage 3, not so much. As he falls from 3rd place in the race off pit road back to 9th as he was outside of row 2. And Connor Zillage, who got up in the top 5 initially on the restart, he's now back to 8th right in front of Briscoe. And Briscoe's still not found himself in line yet. He lost a spot to Sawalich, and now Briscoe's about to be passed by Brandon Jones. And the 20 car to the inside. What a struggle this has been for the 19 car. And he actually got against the wall in turns 3 and 4. And he got against the wall again here moments ago in turns 3 and 4. So he got against the wall in 3 and 4 that opening lap after the restart. That's why he lost a few positions. And now he just hit it again a second time. And you have to be leery of potentially blowing a tire, as he seems to be well off the pace into turns 1 and 2. Wow. Well, one of the heavy hitters hand out the window for Briscoe. He's definitely coming to pit road. After hitting the wall not once but twice, so he goes from 3rd place, now likely going to fall off the lead lap with this green flag stop. And he's going to miss the pits. He couldn't get woed up in time. A bad problem continuously getting worse for Chase Briscoe as he fails to make his way to pit road, and now we'll have to see if he can make it all the way back around. Just couldn't get the car woed up in time. Almost got ran over by Brendan Poole in the 44, too. That could have been a catastrophe. Poole just able to get up out of the way. Jesse Love has led the first handful of green flag laps to start the final stage. 97 laps to go, looking for redemption after Allgaier, who did not dominate last week but got the win on Love, who did dominate. Now Love, maybe he could steal a win away from Justin Allgaier after Allgaier has been the one to lead the most laps so far today. This is the second different time that Jesse Love has been out in front. Seems to be holding on just a little bit stronger on this restart, but the 7 car is right there. And he's going to be looking to pounce any chance he gets. Big run on the front stretch for the 7. Allgaier going to try to beat Jesse Love to the inside. Both cars in the middle groove of the racetrack. The 7 trying to get the turn down on corner exit. Gets to the inside of Jesse Love. Drag race down the backstretch into turn 3. Love down on the white line. Will slide up clear. And Justin Allgaier leads for the first time in the final stage in the 3rd different time total in the race today. 95 laps to go, and it is the 7 car out in front. Jesse Love sits in 2nd now, Sheldon Creed 3rd. 4th is Taylor Gray, and Corey Day rounds out the top 5 in 5th. Kyle Larson in 6th. 7th is Connor Zilic. Austin Hill 8th. William Sawalich 9th. And Carson Kvapil rounds out the top 10. 11th is Brandon Jones, Sammy Smith in 12th, Cole Custer 13th, Daniel Dye 14th, and Raja Karuth 15th. 16th is Parker Retzlaff, Ryan Sieg 17th, Anthony Alfredo 18th, Dean Thompson 19th, and Nick Sanchez 20th. Patrick Sarpoli 21st, Kyle Sieg 22nd, Josh Williams 23rd, Austin Green 24th, and Jeremy Clements back to 25th. Harrison Burton in 26th, Jeb Burton 27th, Brendan Poole 28th, Blaine Perkins 29th, and Josh Malicki in 30th. 31st, Mason Maggio, LeVar Scott 32nd. 33rd is now Maggio, as it looks like Scott moved up a couple spots that last lap. And you got Joe Gase at 34th, Nathan Berg 35th, Ryan Ellis last car in the lead lap at 36th. Chase Briscoe 2 laps down after having to make that unscheduled pit stop and missing pit road after hitting the wall a couple times in turns 3 and 4 both times on the restart. Sam Mayer, electrical issues back at stage 2. He is 5 laps down but on track as well. So all 38 cars that started the race are still in it, 36 of which on the lead lap. 2 of the heavier hitters are the ones off of the lead lap. 12 lead changes, 5 cautions, just under an hour and a half into the race. 91 laps to go here at Vegas. We'll take a quick break. You're listening live on KRC. Our full flag-to-flag coverage continues. Jake, thanks for tuning in. I miss you too, man. Hopefully things are going well back home. I just saw you texted me. I haven't been able to read it yet. Join you for WrestleMania. Yeah, I will. I mean, I'm probably not going to WrestleMania this year, so I would say yes, I will more than likely be able to join you for that if you're still watching. I don't know if you left the chat or not yet. Battle for the lead continues. Jesse Love just passed Justin Allgaier back for the lead. Now, Allgaier passed him a few laps ago, but I thought I was watching a replay for a second. No, Jesse Love outright got him back. Off turn 4 through the tri-oval. He's put a couple extra car lengths on him. I don't know what's going on with the 7 car right now, but Jesse Love out of nowhere trying to put his car to victory lane potentially for the first time this year and keep our streak of different winners to start the season alive. And a win would be so crucial for either the 2 or the 7 right now because that is going to vault them into the points lead. Even though Justin Allgaier won the first 2 stages today, if Jesse Love wins this race, he will be the points leader. Even if Allgaier finishes 2nd, because of the difference in points, it is between 1st and 2nd place. There's a 20-point difference. And Love finished within 20 points of Allgaier in the first 2 stages because, of course, remember that Justin Allgaier, although he won the first 2 stages, Jesse Love was top 5 at the end of stage 1 and stage 2 as well. And Love came into this race only 3 points behind him. Allgaier's slipping. And not only he's not able to keep up with Jesse Love after Love passed him back, but Sheldon Creed and the double zeros closing the gap a ton on Allgaier. And Taylor Gray's not that far behind either. In 4th. Some of this, maybe it's a bit of tire management if we do have a longer green flag run. We have seen in years past for this O'Reilly race that we tend to see the final stage go caution-free. or at least get the very long green flag runs to get close to doing that. Yeah, this is very interesting. What a pass back by Jesse Love. Usually you see somebody drop out of the lead like that, kind of slip by the wayside, especially when we saw him do just that back in stage 2. But in this stage, a few laps later, he jumps right back to the lead, and Allgaier's the one kind of slipping back a bit. For whatever reason. We'll listen into the broadcast coverage when they come back from commercial. I want to know if maybe something is very weird with the handling on that 7 car that he wasn't dealing with issue-wise earlier. Maybe they went the wrong way on an adjustment just trying to stay ahead of the field, and they might have to move the car back to the way it was. I mean, this is very reminiscent of last season where it's just, there's races that Allgaier would dominate and he couldn't get the win, and a lot of which Connor Zilisch was kind of able to sneak in there and get the win, but there were other winners. That wasn't just Zilisch in that situation a year ago. Larson and Kvapil battling for 7th after Connor Zilisch just passed Larson for 6th the lap before. Man, oh man. Allgaier's starting to reel Jesse Love back in. And we might have a battle for the lead for the 3rd time in this stage. Allgaier within just a few tenths of a second of Jesse Love. Kyle Larson in the 88 still barely holding off. Carson Kvapil just behind him. Big slide job maneuver by Taylor Gray. William Sawalich. The 18 cars, he slides up in front. I believe Austin Hill in the 21. Towards the back half of the top 10. Wow. Taylor Gray to the inside of Justin Allgaier for 2nd place on the racetrack. Couple laps there, looked like Allgaier was showing some life interval-wise to catching up to Jesse Love, and now he's falling back again. Gets those spurts where he kind of drives up on the 2 or in the midst of passing him a little bit ago and then loses ground right back up again, and then some. Caution's out for the 6th time today. Our first caution of stage 3. The 26 car, Dean Thompson, has gone around for a spin in turn 2. No major damage on that number 26 Toyota Supra. Slight bit of damage on the side skirt right around the left rear tire. I wonder if there was contact that sent him around. Does look to be like there's some right side damage on the 48 of Patrick Staropoli. So maybe that's where the contact took place. Thompson trying to limp his car back into the pits. Actually, 25 of Nick Sanchez. Looks like he maybe got a piece as well. Waiting to see a replay of exactly what happened. Replay that we're getting on the CW, the spin already took place. Kind of saw the 48 and the 26 sliding simultaneously. I don't know how much of that maybe Thompson lost the car like Cole Custer did in that area of the track earlier, and then Staropoli kind of spun to miss him. Maybe that contact on the right side of the 48 might have been contact with the wall a little earlier. .81 laps to go. So Justin Allgaier, who wins stages 1 and 2, is in second place. Even with this early caution on the stage, we may see cars come to pit road. They're a little bit outside the fuel window. So this would not be the final stop. But pit road will be open. Who will come and who will not? Jesse Love going to lead most of the leaders onto pit road, if not all.
All these aggressive and they're taking advantage, Kim.
And Justin Allgaier in that 7 car, reporting to his team, he's way freer that run. In fact, if he got tight across the middle, he wasn't able to put any wheel into it. In the previous stuff, they took air pressure adjustment. Now they will actually make a chassis adjustment. Track bar right there, you see, Dylan.
Jesse Love in the middle of the screen said, I'm okay, but the track felt like it swung free. So he told Danny Stockman, if you think it's going to keep doing that, give me some lateral grip. They'll take a half round out of the right rear to do that. Taylor Gray hasn't said much on the radio this run. Think they've been pretty happy with their race car. 4 tires and fuel for the 54.
We'll get the race on Progressive Pit Road. Love maintains. 2's been incredible today. That crew, outstanding. Gray +1. Reed gets a spot. +2 for Connor Zillage. Allgaier lost 4 in that exchange with an adjustment. 60 caution of the day. Restart coming. 80 laps to go. Las Vegas.
All right, under a commercial break here, middle of a caution in stage number 3. We're going to have less than 80 laps to go in the restart. Jesse Love wins the race off of pit road again, 3 for 3 there, though this time he was the leader leaving, going on to pit road and then obviously leaving still in the lead. Justin Allgaier in the 7's got some work left. It looked like he was going to be the guy to beat, and his biggest competitor, Chase Briscoe, getting into the wall on the last restart. You wondered, okay, it's Allgaier's race to lose at this point. He nabs a lead away from Jesse Love, just for Love to pass him back a handful of laps later, pull away. Allgaier was slipping back so much so that he was about to lose second place to Taylor Gray. Sheldon Creed was right there in the picture as well. And then a caution comes out for Dean Thompson, kind of bailing Allgaier out. He holds on to second. Now, Allgaier loses some spots on pit road, and he's going to be restarting, it looks like, right around 5th place, maybe 6th. So he's got his work cut out for him. It's not going to be a walk in the park for Allgaier to try to sweep all 3 stages here this afternoon. Thanks for everybody tuning in. Live commentary coverage continues here on KRC. We'll take a quick break and continue here at Las Vegas. A lot of racing to go. 13 lead changes so far. About an hour and 40 minutes into the race. Under caution for the 6th time in the first of stage 3. 2 yellows for incident back in stage 1. We had 1 in stage 2 and now 1 in stage 3. Longest green flag run of the day is only 27 laps, so with a little less than 80 to go, I would like to think the odds are in our favor that we have not seen the last caution yet today. More cautions in the Spring Vegas race today than we usually see. It's not a race that warrants a lot of yellows in this series. But today's a different story. A lot of single and 2-car incidents, but that's about it. Next weekend, the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series will be racing at 4:30 p.m. Eastern at the Darlington Raceway on Saturday afternoon, and that will be our next O'Reilly race stream. Tomorrow will be our next live commentary stream on the channel. Those the NASCAR Cup Series will take their turn at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway for the running of the Pennzoil 400. Our live commentary coverage will begin at 3:30 p.m. Eastern, beginning with our pre-race show. I'll give you my predictions for who I think is going to run well, not run well in the race tomorrow. We'll highlight the Fantasy League, do some NASCAR trivia, go through the starting order, and get the race underway. We'll have all 400 miles, 267 laps of flag-to-flag coverage for you. Again, tomorrow starting at 3:30 p.m. Eastern.
Lane, they held serve in this most recent cycle, but unfortunately, there was a penalty, safety violation.
Right, so here they are on pit lane, but take a look at the top of your screen. That's Danny Stockman falls over the wall trying to catch the tire, Dylan. But was he supposed to be there?
Yeah, so that's the kind of other layer to this story. They had a pit crew member who was late getting out here, had some flight issues from what I understand, and Danny was kind of called in at the last minute to try to catch that tire. So not last minute for today. So not exactly how they drew it up, obviously from everything. And here's some radio to tell more of the story. Oh, man. Jesse Love, man. See, look. What happened, right? You gotta love the passion. Yeah, right. You're a cool guy, but he's just so fired up all the time.
Hey, by the way, Briscoe takes the wave around. He's back on the lead lap. Sam Mayer takes the wave around. He's now 4 laps down. Trey in control on the restart. 54 jumps away, and Connor Zilich right in the game. Had the problems lap 2, but he's fought his way back to second. That's Creed in third. Larson and Day up there. 4th and 5th.
Zilich looking the outside there, getting some clean air to the nose, but just doesn't quite have the run, the momentum off of 4. Gray gets away by a little bit. What a recovery by the 1 seed. Zilich had that issue early. Kind of slowly work their way back to the front. Good pit stops. Now finds themselves in a great position as Creed's going to get to his outside. Creed's been good all day long, running that second lane.
Creed solid on 1.5 miles a year ago. Flexing his muscles here, waiting for his opportunity. Goes outside of Zilich for second, and he's all clear. 0-0 to the runner-up spot behind Taylor Gray.
And got the momentum down the front stretch. Might even have a little bit of a run here. See what he does with Gray out front. You see Taylor goes to the bottom. Look at Sheldon get that run through the middle again. Did he get it on the exit? Gets a little tight there. Oh, contact. The wall. Ah.
Everything he had gained, gone now. Allgaier lost those spots on pit road. He's trying to come back in the 7. Look at Corey Day in the 17, up to 3rd. This is his kind of track. 4th here last fall, 9th or better. In the last few races, he's been impressive.
And Zilich already had damage to that right front, so you got to be worried about the integrity of the bodywork there. If it starts rubbing on that tire, that's a serious hit right there to the outside wall for a fender that was already slightly damaged.
You think about the Cup drivers coming to run on Saturday. Custer had the slide. Briscoe gets in the wall. Now Zilich is in the wall. The car not handling the way that Larson would like. They've all faced their adversities here today, and the series regulars have come to play.
See Sheldon continuing to try to make that second lane work, then turning back down the racetrack, trying to get a little bit of a run down the backstretch. It looks like he's better than the 54 right now. Just has to figure out how to complete the pass right here. Taylor probably driving out of the mirror, going everywhere that Sheldon is.
And look at Love right of your screen, starting to drive back through after the penalty. Plus 10 since the restart, and going to the outside of Anthony Alfredo for 18.
He's flying through, but this is one of the toughest parts of the race to make up time. Everyone's had the chance to work on their cars. It's going to get harder and harder as he comes through the field to make those passes and be so much faster. So we see Sheldon trying to go to the outside. You look at that flag up there. Huge gusts of wind down the back stretch, making these cars still handling into 3. Yeah, the wind's gusting almost 25 miles per hour right now. Wasn't even supposed to be windy today. It just continues to get worse. You know the drivers are struggling with that into turn 3. Corey Day, that you hit on a little bit, Adam. I thought this would be a good race for him just because of how he ran last year and based on how they started. But the fact that he's ahead of all those, the majority of the junior motorsports cars, and it's been continuous all day long. You see Larson right there and Allgaier, Corey Day in front of both of them right now. It's been a great day for him.
But so much of this, Parker, reminds me of what we saw out of Zilich last year, and I said it earlier. But you take the opening couple of stages to go to school, get educated, and then you pounce in the final stage. We've seen it so many times. And hey, Carson Quaffle has been impressive in that 9 as well. Just can't sing his praises enough. Driving a 3rd different car in consecutive weeks, but once again himself in position for success, racing Larson.
The 9 seed thought they had a really good car in practice earlier today. It's taken him the whole race, though, to work his way to the front.
He's been pretty methodical. You see right here with a couple of his teammates, Larson on his inside. Zilich has been able to continue even with that damage on the right front, but no damage on the 9 car. He's had a solid day. It's been a great year for him.
Caution is out, 7th of the day. So Josh Balicki there in the 07. Patrick Staropoli in a 48.
Yeah, I believe there was kind of a moment off of turn 4 and actually a little further down on the front stretch potentially where this happened. Patrick Staropoli just had that incident with Dean Thompson. Got loose underneath him. They spun in 1 and 2. He's trying to come back to the field.
Both these drivers outside the top 25. I'm a big fan of Patrick Staropoli, and he's going to tracks that he hasn't seen before and putting himself in positions really that he's not been in as a race car driver. But this eye doctor who's taken a sabbatical to do it full time in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series, you know, you got to put an asterisk on his results because he's facing something different than everyone else, but he's doing a nice job.
100%. And he just always gets better through the races. As we look here off of 4, Balicki just got into his left rear, came up the racetrack. The track kind of condenses a little bit off of 4 here. Let's get a shot from Chase Briscoe's on board here. Well, that's just it's too close. And went right in the left rear. No fault to Patrick Staropoli. That's on Josh. But I think to your point, you know, we were commenting in break at one point. You know, you look at his races. He was back in the 30s for stage 1. By stage 2, he's inside the top 30. By stage 3, he was running there racing in the top 20. It's that kind of progression that you want to see. He's definitely got the skills to be here, but just trying to learn so much. And every time we talk to him, each and every weekend almost, he goes, this is the first time I've ever seen this place. That's incredible to be doing this at this level against drivers and teams that have been, you know, going these places for years. So doing a good job there. I love that qualifying lap he had earlier today. He was committed. Looks fast, hit the wall. They've had to come back from that all day, but definitely he's doing a good job. Similar to what we've seen out of Carson Quapple and Corey Day, who are doing a different end of the field with different experience level.
Outside the pit window here, all those front runners still have a set of tires to work with as we round out the day. You know, Corey made a lot of headlines in those first few races of the year, and there was some negative talk, but he went through the reset. He looked his problems right in the eyes and goes last week to Phoenix and gets that top 10. Very impressive there, and starting to go to tracks, you know, now a second time, and you just know that that's going to infuse some confidence for him. And he was already impressive at Las Vegas in his first go around last fall and doing today what you would expect, stepping up in 3rd.
And I think we're getting rumbling towards here as we get later in this race. This is when the restarts get a little bit more aggressive. And we've seen, Jamie, that outside lane doesn't quite work. And I feel like when you get later into these races, as we look, pit road will be open. It's a tough decision. What do you do? How aggressive do you get? See if anyone chooses to come down here.
Ooh, we're going to get a couple little fake outs right there.
Yeah.
Anybody's actually coming.
Right,
Jones comes in, maybe taking a chance.
Jesse Love decides to come.
You know, the decision there.
He was really close to that orange box when he came down pit road. You know, he had worked his way back to 17th. Split decision here. Some of the drivers coming down pit road, Dylan.
Yeah, we saw Brandon Jones. He's on the right of the screen and what hit first. Was listening to the 2 radio, and there was a lot of discussion between Jesse and Danny Stockman about what the right move was. They are very, very close, they feel like, to being able to make it from here on fuel. So that is what they're going to do. Fuel only. They'll save their last set of tires, and if nothing else, maybe on the last stop, this may give them a little bit shorter fill if they're able to drive back through the field. But some interesting strategy moves here that you could do when you're a little bit deeper in the field.
Let's go back and watch Jesse Love when he's coming in here. You got to have all 4 tires below that orange box.
Just makes it.
Woo! He almost came to a complete stop before he decided to come in.
Taking the risk.
A little strategy playing out. This 2 car tries to come from behind. Taylor Gray leading with 65 to go.
Yeah, that was very close. I don't know that he actually got all four tires down below the box. Either way, fuel only stop, it looks like, for Jesse Love, so he could save that extra set of tires. We only ran maybe 10 green flag laps in between cautions, so not wanting to burn that extra set of tires, obviously at the back of the pack because of the penalty on pit road for the too many men over the wall, because his crew chief Danny Stockman fell over trying to reach a tire that was rolled a little bit too far out of his way, so he was upset about that. And heard a hilarious soundbite on the TV side of things. Stockman upset about falling over the said pit wall, putting the team behind. So Taylor Gray in the lead. Top half of the field stayed out on the racetrack, back half for the most part, coming into the pits. Brandon Jones was in the back half of the top 10, and he just pitted. Alternate strategy games being played late at Las Vegas. So just a little bit outside the fuel window. Maybe those that are pitting now trying to save a little bit of gas. Maybe stretch it to the end. Could have some fuel mileage games go on if we do stay green long enough. Worth noting, as I mentioned already, and it still stands, that the longest green flag run of the day is only 27 laps, and that was from the restart after the early caution in stage 2 to the end of that stage to lap 90. So even with a restart of more than 60 laps to go, they're going to have to more than double the length of the longest green flag run to make it to the ace, or make it to the end of the race without another caution. So quite a few of them here in this O'Reilly Series race today. And we shall see if we get another. A lot of racing to go. A lot can happen here, about a full fuel run left. As soon as they come back from commercial, I'll let you listen in. I'm going to have to get up and get another water, so I'll be back in a little bit.
So you buy freeway insurance, ways to choose, ways to both going before we had the stunts. He gets more and more aggressive, and it kind of gives you the opportunity to either slot in the second or try and push it 3 wide into turn 1 at times. If you can catch Taylor Gray sleeping a little bit, so we'll see what Sheldon decides to do. Corey Day said, I'll take the front row. Thank you very much. And now we take a look at this replay. Brought to you by Progressive. Save when you bundle motorcycle, RV, and boat insurance. Visit progressive.com. The focus, Jesse Love. And the Pitley on pit road. Lead the race, win the battle off. You get trapped back in traffic. Do you come to pit road or not? They come, barely get inside of that orange box, flirting with another penalty, but he makes it work. They top off the fuel tank, and prior to the choose, he was 28th. But they saved that set of tires. And they're good on fuel, so if this thing runs out, could work out for him. And he's back there with Briscoe, who had taken the wave around. Both these drivers, kind of at a similar spot trying to drive through here.
Well, the play for Love is hoping to front screen here. Maybe he can make it. And Briscoe has the tires, has 4 tires on, so it's going to be fun to see what he can do. And inside, this gets such a good launch. I think Allgaier is all over the back of Corey Day. They're connected right here. See if he can make that outside work at all.
But Sheldon did not get a good launch. He was not in the rear bumper there. Taylor Gray.
Look at the 17.
Corey Day, a big run down the back. Now those side draft into 3. We'll see who comes out on top.
But it's slowing each other down right there. We got your cars on the outside. Both of them trying to make that work.
Sheldon's seeing double right now.
Outside, before. Spotter's like, there's another one.
Restart time to make hay.
Yeah, Corey did a great job.
We club it sideways.
Oh, hang on.
He hits it.
Oh, he does.
How about that? Well done, Jeremy. Yeah, this is so fun, because Jamie talks about the fact that Briscoe did get tires there. Brandon Jones got tires. He was
At my request.
in the running order at the restart of those that came down and got tires there. So this is where the opportunity comes in. There's going to be a lot of give and take here as we ride on board with Briscoe.
Yeah, and we've got some different players at the front, guys. As this race has evolved, Allgaier was dominant at one point. This is awesome to watch the speed this 19 has. Not only a good car, but also having those 4 fresh tires. See Allgaier getting a little bit of momentum back here inside of Larson. But it just seems like as the races went on, we keep seeing different guys start moving to the front. Take a look here. Jeremy Clement, see Brandon Jones on the outside getting a massive run.
Touch. And then this basically cut down the right rear tire for Jeremy Clements, who does an excellent job holding on to this car. You start to see it wiggle there. And up the track he goes. We got a battle for the lead down the bottom. Corey Day shoots the bottom.
Wow.
Have a day, 17 on point. Henry Motorsports has never won here in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. 10 Cup wins. That's the most all time. Twice they won at Vegas in the Craftsman Truck Series. And with 59 to go, Corey Day has Mr. H's car in the lead in Las Vegas.
Yeah, interesting to see him run through the middle right here, even once he got to the lead. See, he gave Taylor the bottom. To me, like Taylor's struggling just a little bit here. His Creed's all over the back of him right now, too. But that's so impressive by the 17 to get to the lead here.
It's just incredible with the amount of experience he has in these cars, how quickly he's figuring out the aero. And when we talked to him last week at Phoenix, still all the things he doesn't know and that he knows he doesn't know and how much he's learning. And to be able to put himself in position like this in the lead later on in this race, just continually learning and evolving and getting better. That's what you want to see. This is what Kyle Larson has seen in this young man. This is what Jeff Gordon has seen in this young man, Rick Hendrick. This is why he's in the seat he is, because they saw this potential in Corey Day, and he's showing it right now at the lead.
Yeah, we've referenced the fact that, he's been running the high-limit sprint car races next door here. Thursday night, Friday night. Well, this is just race 1 for him today because he's going to run the high limit car again tonight. These guys are running sprint cars, so sprint car guys are nuts. They race around so much. Yeah, it's unbelievable.
We follow in the top 3, Day, Gray, and Creed. Right behind them, it's a Junior Motorsports parade. They've got positions 4th to 8th in the running order. One more time, we look at the battle for the lead.
Yeah, he just was on the top, had a little bit of a run. When they slid up, he had the momentum, made it look easy right there into turn 3. Not driving away, though. Like, as you watch this, his first 3 or 4 are all running almost identical lap times. Creed's moving around, just trying to find grip. And I think what they're looking at is the car that's getting bigger behind him. Justin Allgaier is on the move right now, about 2/10 quicker than all 3 of these guys.
Yeah, one of the things that's concerning me about Corey Day here is just how he's not really committed to a line there. He's going through the middle of 1 and 2, which can work in short bursts, but you don't want to be there too often. And then he's just a bit up on the bottom in 3 and 4. This time, he gets to the bottom of 1 and 2. That was a smart move. And then 3 and 4, it just seems like he's not able to get to that white line. So we'll see if that continues to last. But that 7, on the other hand, was committed once again.
Yeah, Parker, I think that's just part of the learning process. I mean, he's just trying to figure it all out right now of where his car's good. His spotters, he's a little bit loose right there. I saw the back get out from underneath him. Hasn't been out front all day, right? So your balance is going to be a little different in clean air. And this is just all part of the learning process. We talk about it with Corey Day. We talked about it with Star Pulley. Listen, it's the only way you learn is to go out and race and try to figure it out.
Think about those,
kicking up dust up there.
no doubt. You're thinking about those drivers that came down pit road at lap 134. Brandon Jones on tires has worked his way to 10th. Jesse Love didn't take tires. He's back up to 14th. And look at Gray peeking to the inside. 53 to go. And it's a 3-man dance, soon to be 4 as Allgaier drives up there.
And that was a great example of what I've been watching down in 3 and 4 from Corey. He just doesn't quite get to the bottom. He has this large arc. He's not timing the deceleration perfectly to get to the white line, and therefore you get caught in almost like a no man's land a little bit. It gave the 54 a big run.
Oh!
Sideways, 54 trying to hang on. Gray into the wall.
Caution is out, number 8 today.
Dang.
Heavy damage right front, Taylor Gray. Had been the model.
Oh, he's done.
A lot of time in
That car's done.
21 laps.
Wow. He's not going to be happy with Sheldon Creed.
We'll go to the garage with it.
We'll have to go back and look at that. It just didn't make sense. You see Gray trying to get to the inside of the 17, but I don't. It was like the 00 had a little bit of a run as well.
It was like Sheldon wanted to push him, right? Like you do earlier down the straightaway, but didn't detach from him early enough as they got into the corner. Was still pushing.
This could
be a message.
Yeah,
Potentially.
Allgaier might be the savior right here.
Eh,
Yeah, here we go.
Yep. He expresses displeasure.
I love it. I don't blame. Oh, told him his number one, I think.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you? Here's Sheldon Creed radio.
He only needed a few block.
Oh,
Okay.
well, so he. I don't know that he was
detach.
Yeah, that's an interesting perspective that Sheldon has there, because it looked to me like he was trying to get inside of Corey Day. So I don't really know that that's a block. As we'll get a better look at it here from an aerial view.
Sheldon has the run off the top, ton of momentum. Taylor does sort of move the bottom, but he's also going below the 17, and Sheldon, uses the front bumper to say, you will not be doing that.
I don't know that. And I get what Sheldon's saying right there, but I don't know that hitting somebody on corner entry could have gotten both of those guys.
That's a serious message. You know, it's not a slight tap on a short track, move you out of the way. You're going 170 miles an hour at that point down in the corner. You know, when you hit someone like that, that's going to be the result.
Well, the one thing that we don't know, and that only drivers know between themselves, is the history they have between the two. There might be more there than what we see, but it seems awful egregious. 50 laps to go in the race.
You know, I'm just thinking about the big picture perspective for Joe Gibbs Racing, and we said it. They're without a top 5 this season, and their best opportunity today, no doubt, was Taylor Gray. Let's get some more 00 radio Sheldon Creed's team.
Maybe.
All right, we didn't have that audio there, so maybe we'll get it a little bit later on. Pit road is open. Everybody's in the window now. Some guys have already taken, a set of tires here, but these drivers have not. Day leading them down progressive pit road, Kim.
Yeah, and Corey Day leading his first laps in the series, period, here today. Very impressive. Said he was tight getting to the line. You see that chassis adjustment. Justin Allgaier there in the center. They're going to take fresh tires to Sunoco Fuel. And then finally, Sheldon Creed, that missed audio that you didn't hear, he said, man, that was my fault, but you can only block a guy so many times. Had been frustrated with the 54. He said free entry, tight center, what he's been fighting all day. Dirty air, real bad for the 00.
Execution has been big all day on the pit lane. We'll see how it all shakes out. The race off progressive pit road. Sheldon Creed and the 00 team able to jump in front of the 17 of Corey Day. He wins the race off progressive pit road, +1 for the 9 of Quapple. Larson gets a spot. Allgaier goes 2 in the wrong direction. And the other thing to point out here is some drivers had come down in lap 134. Among them, Brandon Jones. No tires left. He stays out here. And he was probably on the wrong side of it as far as fuel mileage, but this caution will help him save a little bit.
It's part of the choices you have to make in these O'Reilly Series races when it gets down late and with tire limits. Sometimes it puts you in a bit of a box, and you kind of have to make some choices that may look suspect from the outside, but are kind of the position you're in.
Yeah, but they were in the best position if it runs green.
Yeah,
he has the tires. He's going to have to do it. You take a little bit of a gamble there. It just didn't work out for him right here. But he's not. It's not like he's on extremely old tires, but it is definitely going to be a deficit for him. These guys with 4 new tires behind him.
I'll say this, though. You get them out of balance on tires, and you get a restart here, it's going to be entertaining. We'll have it for you next. Caution number 8 in fact.
Yeah, a tire deficit here for Brandon Jones, and that deficit's going to be a little around 10 laps, give or take. Obviously, it's going to make a big difference. We saw about a second of fall off over a 10-lap green flag run earlier. When we did have that 27-lap green flag run at the end of stage 2, we saw about 1.8 seconds of fall off over those 27 laps. So I don't expect Brandon Jones to hold on here. I'd be shocked if he can do it for a lap, especially with that fire off initially, with the heat cycle already in his tires versus the drivers on fresh tires who will be behind him. I'm not sure how many other drivers are on the same strategy of Brandon Jones. He could have a couple buffer cars, so maybe he'll hold on for a few laps. And boy, oh boy, it's going to be a wild race to watch Sheldon Creed, Corey Day, Carson Kvapil, Kyle Larson, Justin Allgaier try to fight their way. Who will be the first on 4 fresh Goodyears to get to the front of the field? We'll give an update on the full leaderboard once we know the exact amount of cars that stayed out of the pits. I don't know how many of these guys maybe stayed out or coming to pit road to top off a little after. So it'll take a lap before everything gets completely sorted out. This is our 8th caution of the day. 15 lead changes. 41 laps have been spent under yellow so far. And so with about 52 laps to go, we'll see how this is going to all pan out. Can't wait to see how this one goes down. Boy, oh boy. A little less than 50 laps to go. Pay windows open. That'll be the final pit stops of the race today. I don't know of anybody that stayed out of the pits. That could be part of the strategy, too, for the likes of Anthony Alfredo, Jeb Burton. Maybe they stayed out of the pits this time because they're saving that last set of tires in case we catch a caution with 10 or 20 laps to go in the race. We get enough green flag laps in there. 3 cars stayed out of the pits entirely. Sheldon Creed, who won the race off of the pit lane, is going to be in 4th. So Brandon Jones, Anthony Alfredo, Jeb Burton were the 3 drivers who stay out of the pits. Greetings to those of you tuned in throughout the course of today's live commentary coverage. EDE Network, thanks for tuning in. I don't think I shouted you out yet, as well as many others who have watched throughout today's stream. Be sure to hit the like button if you haven't done so yet. Subscribe for more NASCAR content. We did get to our like goal of 50 likes. We're at 57 right now, so be sure to do that. And subscribe for more NASCAR content. Live commentary streams like this every NASCAR race weekend for Cup, O'Reilly, and Truck Series Racing. All right, crazy restart about to come. 47 laps to go. And it'll be Brandon Jones and Anthony Alfredo on the front row. Corey Day was in the lead when the last caution came out. Contact in a battle for second between Taylor Gray and Sheldon Creed, with Gray being involved in a crash. I believe it's not Gray out of the race, so he will have a last place finish, second to last place finish. Nick Sanchez was actually out of the race with mechanical issues a little bit earlier in the final stage as well. Green flag back in the air as Brandon Jones will lead us back to the green. Outside lane did not get fired off and going well. Sheldon Creed trying to beat the 20 to the inside, but gets blocked into turns 1 and 2. And Larson and Day are now side by side for third, with Day boxed in and Larson to the outside. He'll take over second. He's going for the lead down the back straightaway. Kyle Larson going for his first lead of the race, and he'll have it easily with Brandon Jones on the older tires. Corey Day in the 17 will follow his dirt racing rival and predecessor here in the Cup Series, Kyle Larson. After being really nowhere near the top 3 today, Kyle Larson out in front for the first time. Corey Day's in second. Junior Motorsports' Sammy Smith is up to third. And what a hodgepodge group of drivers in the top 5 when you consider the fact that most of those guys weren't even there for the first 2 stages of the race. And now they're there with about 45 laps to go. How long is Larson going to be able to hold on for? Because he's fallen between 4th and 6th place in each of these green flag runs so far and hasn't been able to move forward. Is the clean air enough for him? Have they made enough adjustments with the handful of pit stops so far to keep him out in front? Big 4-wide move by Jesse Love as he cuts up in front of the 7 of Justin Allgaier. Allgaier maybe got back into Jesse Love. Contact, and both those cars are struggling now off turn 4. Connor Zilich in the 1 going with his teammate, going to push him on along, and Justin Allgaier holds on in that battle which is currently going on for about 10th place. Full field running order then right now with 44 laps to go has Kyle Larson in the lead for the first time. Corey Day in second, Sammy Smith third, Sheldon Creed in fourth, and Parker Retzlaff up to 5th place. Carson Kvapil in 6th. Brandon Jones has since fallen to 7th on the restart. Chase Briscoe's back in this thing in 8th place after being 2 laps down at one point after making contact with the wall early in this final stage. Now Briscoe's up to 7th as he passes Jones. Jones is in 8th. William Sawalich 9th. Justin Allgaier, as mentioned moments ago, rounds out the top 10. Then you got Austin Hill in 11th. Jesse Love 12th. Connor Zilic 13th. Roger Groot 14th. And Dean Thompson 15th. Daniel Dice 16th. Kyle Sieg 17th. Anthony Alfredo 18th. Jeb Burton 19th. Harrison Burton in 20th. Brendan Poole 21st. Cole Custer 22nd. Josh Williams 23rd. Austin Green 24th. And Blaine Perkins 25th. LeVar Scott, 26th, Josh Bilicki, 27th, Mason Maggio, 28th, Patrick Starpoli, 29th, and Ryan Sieg, 30th. 31st for Chandler Smith, Joey Gase, 32nd, Jeremy Clements, 33rd, Ryan Ellis, 34th, Nathan Berg, last car in the lead lap at 35th, Sam Mayer is in 36th, 5 laps down, Taylor Gray, 11 laps down, 37th. Again, out of the race after that last crash. Nick Sanchez had mechanical issues earlier in the last stage. He's 20 laps down off of the track in 38th. So that's your full field running order. 16 lead changes, just over 2 hours and 13 minutes into the race. 40 laps to go at Vegas. 8 cautions, 42 laps spent under the yellow. And for the first time today, it is Kyle Larson out in front. Corey Day just got passed for second at the hands of Sammy Smith, who we also haven't seen lead yet today. And Sheldon Creed, who finally got his first career series victory just 3 weeks ago at Atlanta, trying to go for his second a few weeks later here today in Vegas. And he's got a real shot at it, as he was looking very fast throughout the course of the day. He's been quietly top 5 all day, and a lot of the drivers who have been up in the top 5 that were ahead of him in the running order, the likes of Love and Allgaier, are now behind him, so he's got a chance to strike. But in order to win this race, you're going to have to beat one of the best in NASCAR entirely today. Kyle Larson really took these guys to school on the restart. He was inside of row number 4. Broke through to the outside quickly while Jones was still kind of boxing in both Sheldon Creed and Corey Day, and he just bypassed all of them on the outside, made it look easy. Had that pathway to get to the top, and with Jones just kind of blockading the bottom the way he was, it made that move look as easy as it did for Larson, and now he's out in front. Lap time-wise, Larson was a bit quicker than Sammy Smith, though he's got a mirror full of Corey Day. Day's not going to make his life easy battling for second up at the front of the field. Top 4 all Chevrolets, and then Chase Briscoe up to 5th on the restart. Can't count him out of it yet either. Believe it would have saved an extra set of tires to get to this point. That right side damage he had from hitting the wall twice on a restart to begin stage 3. That's why he fell 2 laps down. He missed pit road, then got to pit road the following lap. That's why he fell 2 laps down. He gets the free pass with the first 2 yellows of the stage, and now we had this last one, and he gains 9 positions on the restart, goes from 14th to 5th. After going from the free pass position last car in the lead lap to 14th during the 12-lap green flag run in between yellows, he's been a restarting machine today. He's been as high as second. He hasn't led yet, but can't count Chase Briscoe out of this. And with who he's got in front of him, he was outpacing all those guys earlier. Now we just got to see if he can do it late, and how much damage does that 19 car have on the right side after that wall contact on several occasions. Sheldon Creed made a pass a few laps ago for 3rd on Corey Day, and he's hotly pursuing the 8 of Sammy Smith. 36 laps to go this time by. Jesse Love, who's trying to power his way back through the fields on the inside of Brandon Jones in the back half of the top 10. He got by Justin Allgaier, I do believe. Oh, no, he's still behind Allgaier. Allgaier is up to 7th. That was Austin Hill, actually, in the 21, who was in the rear view of Love, as Love tries to make the pass for 9th. Six spots gained on the restart, with everybody kind of up on the high side again. Inside of row 4 to the lead in a half a lap for Larson. What a restart. The fact that 3 of those guys were on older tires in front of him, I don't think should matter. I mean, the fact you're able to go from the inside of row 4 to the lead in a half a lap, he had other drivers with fresher tires in front of him that still weren't able to get the job done. We know how aggressive Larson can be, and that aggressiveness panned out. 40 days losing a ton of positions As of right now, Chase Briscoe just got by him for 4th, and now there's 2 more cars right behind Daisy. Bleed spots. Quapple and Justin Allgaier for Junior Motorsports are there. Corey led his first laps in series. Part-time last year and obviously full-time this year. Finally got his first laps led in this race today before that caution came out. He wasn't running away with it by any means when he outright made the pass for the lead, but he made the pass. On Taylor Gray at the time, was holding him off up until the caution. I got to count him out of it completely in case something goes crazy down the stretch and we get some more restarts. Which again, this would be the longest green flag run of the day by far if we go more than 40 laps. Be a 47 lap green flag run to the end. The longest green flag run all day, 27 laps. A lot of cautions for this O'Reilly race, 8 of them on a 1.5 mile track. Allgaier making a pass on Corey Day. And remember, Allgaier did win the first 2 stages. He has not really led much in stage 3. It almost feels like it's been a full race ago since he's been out in front, but that is still the same driver, same car. Well, they went the wrong way on an adjustment earlier, whatever the case was, they fell behind and lost some track position with the slight loss of speed, and as they play catch-up, they might have a shot still. That last lap, Allgaier was 0.3 faster than the leader, Kyle Larson. And he's only 2.5 seconds off the lead, despite the fact that he's gotten to 5th. Chase Briscoe also about 0.2 faster than the leader that last lap as well from 4th place. Taylor Gray with an interview outside the Infield Care Center.
Yeah. Especially with picking again and just got wrecked. But can't thank everybody at Toyota Racing and Joe Gibbs Racing for building really fast race cars. We had a really fast operation there at Giro Supra, and just kind of move on. Thanks, Taylor.
Gray upset with Sheldon Creed after the contact that happened on track, sending Gray out of the race. Good to see that he was exited from the Infield Care Center. Pretty hard hit into the outside wall. Showed his displeasure under caution before pulling into the pits as well with Creed, giving him the old one-finger salute. Yes, I saw HendrickCars.com Chevy with a car and tail behind, but it was not Larson, it was Day. Back in the 6th place position, Carson Quapple, the 9 car, looking to get by him. Allgaier was able to get by Quapple and then Day before Day got passed by the 9 car, and the 9 is still stuck. Looks like they're headed to commercial break on the CW right now with about 29 to go, 28 to go this time by. Kyle Larson is your race leader. He's got a 1.3 second advantage over Sammy Smith in 2nd, 1.7 seconds to Sheldon Creed in 3rd, 2.2 seconds back and 4th is Chase Briscoe. Justin Allgaier 2.3 seconds off the lead, rounding out the top 5. Then at 4.2 seconds back is still Corey Day in 6th. Carson Quapple in 7th is 4.5 seconds out of the lead. William Sawalich 5.8 seconds back in 8th. 6 seconds back for Jesse Love in 9th. And 7 seconds off the lead, Austin Hill rounding out the top 10. 2 hours, 20 minutes into the race and counting as we get down to it. 28 laps to go. You're listening live on KRC. We'll take our final break of the stream. Thought they were going to cut the commercial a little bit ago. They did not. So we are still under not only green flag conditions, but still full coverage. Continues on the CW. Lead is stretched out to a 1.7 second advantage, and although Allgaier was faster than Larson a few laps ago, that last lap, Kyle Larson was the fastest on the racetrack with a 32.454, and Sheldon Creed running somewhat similar lap times in 3rd. He is barely outpacing Sammy Smith. Maybe can run him down for 2nd if he makes a quick enough pass. Does Larson have anything for Sheldon Creed? Does Creed have enough to try to run him down? There are still laps left in this race. Not a lot of them with 25 to go this time by, but there are still laps left to catch one of the greats, Kyle Larson, defending Cup Series champion, 2-time Cup champion at that, over a 30-time race winner at the Cup Series level. Tons of battles all over the racetrack. Chase Briscoe, Justin Allgaier in a battle for 4th. Allgaier looking low. Sawalich, Jesse Love also battling for 8th through 3 and 4. Love will make the pass. Allgaier as well, going to get by Chase Briscoe, I do believe. No, actually, Briscoe hold on the front stretch. My bad. 7 car just isn't rounding the bottom of the racetrack as well as he was earlier. Sheldon Creed to the inside, into 3 and 4, makes quick work of Sammy Smith, and that's exactly what he needed. Doesn't overdrive the corner through 3 and 4 to allow for Sammy Smith to have any kind of a crossover. Pass made. That's a good job by Creed making that pass as quickly as he did, because although the 19 and the 7 were battling for 4th, they were actually closing in on both the 00 and the 8. I just don't trust Larson out in front. I know it's Kyle Larson, and I know it's the O'Reilly series, and he dominates these races, but we have not seen him lead all day today. And this is kind of reminiscent of how he won the Texas race in the O'Reilly series last year, where he was nowhere to be found. He gets the lead on a late restart with about 40 to go or less, and then kind of holds on to the end and wins the race, but he didn't lead any laps leading up to that point. He was still in the field, and he got the job done, stayed mistake-free, and that's what he's done exactly today when others have made mistakes around him, both just in front and just behind in the running order, and Larson is led to being out in the lead. In the last lap, he was 2/10 faster than Sheldon Creed. Chase Briscoe also was able to get through to 3rd place, kind of pulling away from Allgaier a bit, and Sammy Smith trying to hold back his teammate for 4th. Not going to happen anymore. Justin Allgaier has attacked, and he has succeeded that attack on Sammy Smith. So 4th place now for Allgaier. And Smith, who was in 2nd just a few laps ago, now back in 5th. 11 positions gained since the restart for the 19 of Chase Briscoe, 4 for Allgaier. Only 2 for Sheldon Creed, as he was just kind of stuck behind Brandon Jones on the restart. Despite winning the race off of pit road to get himself in a position where he thought he could have been the first to get to the race lead on the restart with those 4 fresh tires, but it wasn't meant to be. 21 laps to go for Larson. He's hoping these laps would count down a little bit quicker. They have not to this point. And we've seen a great battle between Larson and Creed before. If you go back to Darlington in the summer of Creed's rookie season at RCR in the O'Reilly series. What a battle. All right. 20 laps to go. The Larson and Creed battle. Creed that last lap had a 32.499 to Larson's 32.664. And Chase Briscoe in the 19 car also amidst that battle with Sheldon Creed. Going to work his way to the outside. Had a great run off turn 4 the last time. Sweeps through 1 and 2. Caught Creed napping. And now Chase Briscoe is actually going to take away 2nd. So despite the fact that Creed at times was outpacing Kyle Larson, even before Creed was able to make that pass on Sammy Smith, it did appear the 19 and the 7 were closing in on him. Briscoe getting all up on that wall. Didn't touch it. After making contact with it a couple times earlier, he probably knows the limit a little bit better as to how hard he can push through 3 and 4, and he's leaving it all on the line. Briscoe not racing for points in this series, neither is Larson. Creed going to look for a crossover a lap and a half after he had gotten past Taylor Gray up near the wall through 3 and 4. Not quite going to get there. Jesse Love making his way through the field, getting by Carson Quapple right now for 7th. Kind of a slower grind for Love in the back half of the top 10 still. Can Briscoe run down Larson? At last lap, Briscoe was faster than Larson, but it was only by 0.06 of a second, and with him being over 2 seconds out of the lead, he's going to have to make bigger leaps and bounds ahead to try to run him down. Might have to also hope that Larson maybe struggles in lap traffic a bit more than that of the 19. Because they're coming up on 15 laps to go this time by at the line. Larson has had his wheel steady, has not slipped all day long, even when under pressure earlier, never overdrove it. When he had a 4th to 6th place car, he ran there. Capitalizes on a late race restart, not slipping a wheel again. Constant battles for second going on behind him have probably allowed him to pull away a little bit more, but trying to capitalize late. And Briscoe, who's outpaced him on speed for most of the day, is one of those trying to attack. Allgaier has not yet gotten by Sheldon Creed for 3rd, by the way, so he's losing time to that of Briscoe, who he was battling with for position just a handful of laps ago. Briscoe up near the wall, very loose off turn 4. He is wheeling that race car like no tomorrow. All sorts of sideways as he's just absolutely digging. I don't know how much of that looseness kind of held him up. $13 to go this time by as the countdown continues for Kyle Larson. Last lap, Briscoe was about a 10th faster, but the lap before that when he got super loose, and also I think he just caught Jeremy Clements in a bad spot off turn 4 on the high side. That costed him. Larson actually about 0.3 faster than Briscoe that last lap, and the lead is at 3.1 seconds now because of the 19 getting caught in lap traffic. Maybe Briscoe overdriving it just a bit to try to run down Larson. Larson's car definitely more smooth than that of Briscoe as Briscoe tries to run him down. Still not going to doubt that Briscoe can't make this close, but the odds are not with him. In one caution, and everybody's going to be restarting on old tires, and that's going to be a situation in and of itself. Nobody has fresh Goodyears left on pit road, so in the event of a caution, unless you come down for scuffs, which I don't think that that's going to pan out really any better than the tires that are already on the race car. I think this is going to be settled within those front couple of rows. Not going to see any miracle from anywhere outside of the top 5. Jesse Love caught past the 1, I believe, of Connor Zilich. Corey Day in 6th is a couple extra car lengths up ahead of the 2. 10 laps to go this time by. Yeah, Love is bearing down on Corey Day pretty quickly. Should be able to get by him. Though there's going to be about a 2.5 second gap to catch Sammy Smith after that. And with limited laps left, I don't know that Jesse Love can get there. It'll be close. After Briscoe lost a little bit of time in lap traffic, he fell to 3.1 seconds out of the lead a few laps ago. He was 0.4 faster than Larson that last lap with a 32.922 to Larson's 33.303. 2.5 seconds of fall off. We've got one car slow on the racetrack down on the apron with damage to the right side. That's Dean Thompson in the 26 after contact with the wall. Looks like he's got a tire down. He'll get the pit road. No debris. We stay green as he is up out of the way. Tire carcass stayed on the race car long enough to get back into the pits and to his pit box. Good to see. Briscoe right now still having to catch Larson naturally. At last lap, still faster for Briscoe than Larson, but only by a 1/10. Clean traffic between the 88 and the 19 for the time being. Sure, more lap traffic will be caught in these final 8 laps. Jesse Love did make his pass on Corey Day off turn 4 this last time by. Again, that was for 6th. 6 positions gained since the restart for Love. This is already surpassed as the longest green flag run of the race today. It'd be just over 40 laps to the end. We've already surpassed 30 laps into the run, 7 to go. Oh, Corey Day, contact with the wall off turn 4. Got to hang on to it. In a battle for 6 with Connor Zilic, he'll concede the position. And hopefully he doesn't have a tire rub of some sort. It was hard to tell exactly how hard against the wall he got, but he definitely clipped it off turn 4. Stu had a little on-track run-in just a couple weeks ago at Coda that knocked Zilic out of the race in his first of 2 starts this season. Didn't see as much speed out of that one car today. Oh, man, now he's in the wall again. Corey Day overdriving it late. Back-to-back laps in the wall up turn 4. We saw that out of Briscoe, and he had a tire going down earlier, so Corey's got to be careful. He's got to continue this run. He's obviously not in a shot to win anymore, but in 8th, the consistency matters, especially considering he is top 10 in points after the first 4 races. Got to keep the fenders on the car, make it to the end, and get this top 10 and get out of here. 2.5 second lead for Larson, 5 to go. Like 4.5 laps left now. Larson just hoping it stays green long enough to get to the white flag. Then the next flag would end the race, whether it's the yellow or the checker. Stay tuned. Immediately after the checkered flag, you'll get to hear an interview from today's race winner. We will go through the full field finishing order as well before we get out of here. 4 to go for Kyle Larson. Well, not the ideal way that I thought Larson could win this race today when I predicted him in the pre-race to go for the race win, but nonetheless, he's going to get it done. Or in a complete catastrophe late. The car got very loose. I think he got a little bit lower than he wanted to down on the white line with those left side tires. 3 to go. Up for Briscoe to close the gap by another 10th and a half. Still a 2.4 second advantage at the start-finish line the last time by. Larson not coasting by any means. He's got a couple more lap cars that he's about to catch. Those 2 lappers are side by side up there in front of him. One of them, Brennan Poole. I don't know who the other one is. It looks like maybe Chandler Smith in the 5. Hard to tell for sure. Big leaps and bounds made forward by Briscoe. Larson into the middle to upper groove of the racetrack. White flag in the air, 1 lap to go. It's Ryan Segan, the 39, who's actually the car closing in on Kyle Larson. He's a lap down, pitted for fresh tires late. Larson's going to open up the bottom and let that 39 go. Final lap of the race for Larson. Down the backstretch into turns 3 and 4. He's got a couple second advantage over Chase Briscoe. Sieg's going to get his lap back as they come to the checkered flag. Not dominating fashion by any means, but Kyle Larson is still victorious here today in Las Vegas. Checkered flag in the air as he wins the LiUNA at Las Vegas. Chat poll had a majority of Larson votes to win the race today. It was my pick as well. So congrats to everybody that picked him to win. And congrats to Larson and that 88 team himself as well. Back-to-back weeks where Junior Motorsports goes to victory lane, and now 5 different winners in the first 5 O'Reilly Series races this season. 2.5 second margin of victory for Kyle Larson in today's race. 47 laps led, all at the end in this final stage. Longest green flag run of the race was to the very end. We had 8 cautions, 16 lead changes, 42 laps of yellow. And we finished under the regulation length of 200 laps, 300 miles. 2 hours, 34 minutes, and 4 seconds total time on this race today. Kyle Larson with the race win. second for Chase Briscoe, Sheldon Creed third. Justin Allgaier, who won stages 1 and 2, ends up finishing in fourth. Allgaier did also, I believe, lead the most laps today. Going back to see how many, 48 laps led for Allgaier, most in the race. Sammy Smith ends up finishing in fifth, and Jesse Love in sixth, led the third most laps. Connor Zilic in seventh, Corey Day eighth, William Sawalich ninth, Austin Hill rounds out the top 10. Carson Kvapil finishes 11th, Parker Retzlaff in 12th, Brandon Jones 13th, 14th for Kyle Sieg, and Daniel Dye 15th. Josh Williams 16th, Harrison Burt 17th, Cole Custer 18th, Raja Kruth 19th, and the first car to finish a lap down, Brendan Poole in 20th, Patrick Starpoli 21st, 22nd for Blaine Perkins, Josh Bilicki 23rd, Jeremy Clements 24th, Austin Green 25th, LeVar Scott 26th, Jeb Burt 27th, Mason Maggio 28th, Joey Gase 29th, and Ryan Ellis 30th. 31st for Dean Thompson, Nathan Bird 32nd, 33rd Anthony Alfredo, Ryan Sieg 34th, Sam Mayer 35th, Chandler Smith in 36th, and Taylor Gray 37th, and Nick Sanchez 38th. Looks like we had 3 DNFs in today's race entirely. Kyle Larson out of his car on the front stretch here at Las Vegas under a rally of cheers, and here is your race winner.
Notching his series here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway, and during pre-race, his young son Cooper said, "You just need to go faster, Dad. You did that, but you didn't stay with the lead until the second half of the race." What was the difference between the first half and the second for you? And the second for you and the second?
I finally remembered what he told me and decided to go faster. But no, my car.
There's Owen. What sweatshirt is he wearing? Let's see. Today.
Yeah.
Did a great job today. It was cool to see him leading laps. Yeah, no, my car was not handling the best at all. I was just super tight, loaded. I couldn't carry any speed through the corners, and I was just getting ate up on restarts, and I mean, really the whole run. But yeah, that last restart, we had some guys stay out, and I had a good launch, was able to get to the middle and get some clean air, and then I think, just me being able to kind of run the line that allowed my front tires to build where they needed to just allow my car to be okay on the long run, I think helped. So yeah, I was a bit nervous. I knew the 00 and Briscoe were sounded like ripping the top, and I tried it like once I wanted to, and I didn't feel good up there at all. So glad we were able to pick our way through traffic well enough. But yeah, thanks to HinderCars.com, Junior Motorsports, Mr. H, Marty. It's always fun to get to race with him and get another win. Much harder work this week than at Texas, but yeah, we got a few more, so hopefully we can get some more wins.
This was your first start in the series of the season. What did you think of the racing you saw out there today?
Well, I got to see a lot of racing on the windshield because I was just a average mid-pack guy for most of it, and it was good. It was really good racing. Corey was fun to watch. He was sideways like the whole time, and I was like, man, if I could just get some of his turn, I could look really good. But no, he did a good job. He was like, I'm telling you, I don't know if you could see onboards of him, people behind him, but like he was sideways. So it was cool to see, and yeah, just. I don't know, clean air just must have meant a lot today, so glad we were able to get the lead when it mattered.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Kyle Larson, a winner here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway.
And I think Las Vegas Motor Speedway should send him an invoice. He needs to buy a ticket because he got to watch the show, and then once again, he became the show. He said,
all right, congrats to Kyle Larson winning today's LiUNA at Las Vegas Motor Speedway, the 5th race of the O'Reilly Series season. I'll see you guys back in Better Than Ever again tomorrow afternoon at 3:30 p.m. Eastern. Hope to see you for that one. On the pole will be Christopher Bell. We'll have our pre-race as usual leading into the main event of the weekend. Hope to see you tomorrow. Have a good rest and safe Saturday night, everybody, and I'll see you back in Better Than Ever next time.